You're watching Sky Sports.
Hello and welcome to the BMI Baby Elite Ice Hockey League for the 2009 All-Star Game. Hello folks, well it's time for coaches and players to take their foot off the gas a little from league and cup competitions as the best players from the north and the best from the south take each other on in a game that's all about skill and having a good time. Alongside of me, representing the north, is Manchester Phoenix Brett Kluche. And representing the Cardiff Devils from the Cardiff Devils community is Brent Pope. Brent, how are you, buddy?
Fantastic. Good to be here.
Brett, how are you?
I'm always good. You know that.
Yeah. You guys, now the All-Star Game, it's always a time where people talk about the players and the skills and where, Brett, I imagine they can show each other what they can really do and let it go and have a bit of fun.
Yeah. I can't say I've been out there for the skill or whatnot.
I was going to ask you, how many All-Star Games have you been in?
Well, I think this is my first right here doing the commentating. But yeah, it's just a time to really get back to the fans, really. The All-Star Game usually is just boys go out there and do what they can. I mean, we got a lot of skilled players, and see a game like that, it's going to be really exciting. It's going to be a high-scoring event, as they usually are. And guys are just out there to have a good time and just interact with each other. And
Brent, you work with the Cardiff Devils community, and with regards to how the fans look at a game like this, it's really important, I think, for fans to come and look at players in another light, rather from their big serious hats on.
Yeah, I think a lot of times some of the best things that go on is in training, and the fans never get a chance to see that. So tonight's an opportunity for players to not have the pressure of having to perform and win a hockey game. They need to go out there and just put on a little bit of a show and actually exhibit just their skills, as Brett was saying. And the guys got a lot of talent here. That's why they're here at an All-Star Game, and fans want to see that and put on the show. And
of course, it's the first time that the Elite League have staged an All-Star Game, and we've talked about the ones in the past that have been here in the country, and it's a real good time for fans to come together, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the British ice hockey fans always enjoy coming together and having an activity. It's a playoff event. We used to have the Benson Hedges Cup that used to come and watch as well. So having a neutral site venue like this to have an All-Star Game for everybody to come from around the league and watch the players from around the league, I think it's just a good showcase for our sport in the UK.
Great. All right, well, now it's time for Dave Sims to bring you through some of the highlights from last weekend.
Let's start off at the Odyssey Arena, where the Nottingham Panthers were in town taking on the Belfast Giants in those pink shirts. Evan Chevrier weaving his magic early on, but Burgoyne shoots past Robinson to give the Giants the early lead. Plenty of action, and we'll see right from the face-off. Here we go, Kevin Burgin and Rushton. Rushton getting straight in there, and he's just got a jackhammer of a left hand, and he just catches Burgin, I think a little by surprise. First round goes to Rushton. Panthers trail 2-0. A super effort, Evan Chevrier, and the Nottingham club in trouble after Robinson had made that first save. Not for long though. Matthew Myers does good work. Tessier, backdoor Johnny on the sparks, one of our favourites, Jay Galbraith. Good work from Myers and Tessier. Back though, Martin, 3-1, over the shoulder of Robinson, and the Belfast Giants extend their lead back to 2 goals. And don't the Giants look a different team with Andrew Martin back in it? And of course their other hot shot is Paul Denisette. Where's 10? Stands just in front, gets a deflection past Robinson, and had Elvis left the building at the end of the second period, many thought so. 4-1. The Giants led after 2. Start of the third period, Kevin Burgin wanted another go. This time though, he wanted a little time to prepare. Remember, Rushton got straight in there the first time. So there is Jason Rushton, Kevin Burgin. And Burgin getting the big right, going to the back of the head of Rushton. Rushton hanging on, then throws a jab of his own, but Burgin with a couple of hammers. And if Rushton had the better of the first one, big Kevin Burgin is getting to work and throws a nice right over the top there. And Burgin goes down and then gets back up again. I don't know about you, but I'm giving that one to Burgin. Rushton 1, Burgin 1. Let's get back to the action. And the Panthers 4-2. Stevie Lala won that one back as the Testmeister rips one past him. And it was to be the Nottingham Panthers that took the game to the Belfast Giants. Man out in front is Johan Moline. Backdoor, Moline shoots and scores. It's 4-3. We are into the last minute of the Odyssey Arena. 4-3, the Giants lead. The Panthers throw in everything. Look at the man at the back door. It's Bruce Richardson. He hammers home, and Richardson ties it. No need to get emotional, Bruce. But the Panthers are tied at 4. It went to penalty shots. Andrew Martin had a chance to win it. Falls a forehand, backhand, forehand. He shoots, he scores. The Giants over the Panthers by 5-4. The Nottingham Panthers got on a plane and hit the Sheffield Arena. Another 7,000 as the emotions ran wild. Hewitt with a monster of a hit, and that started a push and shove session just in front of the Panthers bench. Everybody tried to grab a partner. Jake Galbraith thought he'd picked himself a fight. Off come the gloves, the helmet, but by the time he went dancing, the referee had made sure nothing was going to happen. Well, Galbraith was on the ice moments later, and he was to put Nottingham ahead. He shoots and scores in front of 1,200 travelling supporters from the Leigh City. Another big hit between Dowd and Tessier. Keep your eyes on those two. They were the latest combatants. Dowd in white, Tessier in black. Dowd getting the better of that one. Everybody then just coming and picking a partner. And both Dowd and Tessier off to the penalty box. Sheffield looking for that equalising goal. Big shot comes in. Ed Hill takes one in the back of the leg. Now watch, he can't get off. Now Tessier behind the goal, Talbot behind the goal. He breaks free, and Ed Hill just can't get across to him. Talbot gets the shot away. He shoots, he scores. We are tied at 1-1. Now your heart's got to go out to Kevin Bergin. 2 fights against Rushton on Friday night. Hits Sheffield, and he runs into big Steve Munn as well. 2 balls here going for it. Right's going from Munn. He gets rid of the elbow pads. A big left there from Bergin. But now back to the hockey action. Remember, we're tied at 1-1. We're on the power play. Gorgeous play. Nielsen faked the shot, went for the pass. Galbraith gets his second. Power play goal. Panthers lead by 2-1. Steelers unit with Cruikshank. He finds Shepherd. Shepherd to Finnerty. Finnerty goes 5-0 on Robinson, and we're tied at 2. Sheffield go looking for that go-ahead goal. Keep your eye out in front. It's Jeff Legui who gets the chance, and he finishes. Legui with his 21st of the year. 3-2 Sheffield. Sheffield looking to double that advantage. They're on the power play with Sarich. Sarich though gets robbed by Richardson. Brendan Cook short-handed. Forehand, backhand, 5-0. And Brendan Cook ties it. We're into penalty shots, the third full round of penalty shots before Richardson scores. That means Joey Talbot has to score to keep the Steelers in it. He does score. Next shooter, Kevin Bergin. Bergin goes backhand, forehand. Lehman denies. Can Robert Dowd win it for the Sheffield Steelers? He's faked twice. He shoots and scores now. Robert Dowd wins it 4-3 to the Sheffield Steelers. Let's go to Coventry, where they were taking on the Belfast Giants, and it was the Barry Moore night. There's his first, 18th of the year, and Barry Moore puts the Blaze ahead by 1-0. Moore's 18th of the season was quickly followed by his 19th. Carlisle Lewis involved, together with Danny Stewart. Deflection out in front. Barry Moore made it 2-0 Blaze at the end of the first period. Straight off the bat in the second period. And here's one that J.F. Perazzo definitely won back. He gives up a rebound and then lets a soft one through the 5-hole. Martin's 15th of the year, and it's 2-1. Back came the Coventry Blaze, or should I say, back came Barry Moore. He's already got 2. He wasn't satisfied. He's looking for the HT, and he's got that quick snapper. He gets it away past Lyle. Moore's third, 20th of the year, and the Blaze lead by 3-1. They couldn't clear though, and Steve Thornton was to make it 3-2 shortly afterwards. Thornton, the player coach of the Giants, from an acute angle, 14th of the season, 3-2. The Coventry Blaze look nervous with a lead right now, and the Belfast Giants were to capitalise on that. Fancy stick work, slight deflection off the stick of Tommy Watkins, but Thornton made it 3-3. The Coventry Blaze on the attack, a quick turnover though, and it's going to fall to the former Coventry player, Evan Chevrier. He'll pick up, shoots first time, scores his 26th of the year, 4-3 at the end of the second period. Harmison, the Swedish player that Paul Thompson signed, what a pickup he's been. He made it 4-4. It was another rip-roaring night at the Sky Dome in Coventry, but it was to be the Belfast Giants that took advantage. Belfast keeping up their slim hopes of a championship. Andrew Martin, with his second of the night, 16th of the year, made it 5-6. Tyler Howells has been impressive all season. He picks up on Thornton's pass, shoots and scores. That made it 6-4. And the former Coventry Blaze favourite, Evan Chevrier, was to wrap up our scoring with his second of the night as well. You'll see him at the top of your screen. He'll jump in front. And he finished off the scoring. Belfast winning Coventry 7-4. Midweek action at the NIC in Nottingham. Brendan Cook got the home side off to a great start, scoring after 42 seconds. Coventry Blaze came back. And again, our Swede Jarmerson with a bullet past Robinson. Power play goal. And the Coventry Blaze have got it tied at 1. Ben O'Connor from the outside of the circle. And the visitors are 2-1 up at the end of the first period. Only goal of the second period fell to Adam Calder. He shoots and scores. 34th of the season for Adam Calder. He made it 3-1. Another 2-goal advantage for Paul Thompson's team. But back came the Nottingham Panthers with Dan Tessier out of the lineup. Ruben Nader was to come in on the back door. He shoots and scores with his second of the year. And the Panthers back in it 3-2. What a third period it was to be for Corey Nielsen's men. Nader makes it 3-2, but how about this for a finish from the silky skills of Johan Moline? He ties it at 3-3. That was at the 45-minute mark. 3-3, 45 minutes. We join it now at 54-56, 5 minutes remaining. Nielsen shot, gets deflected. Brendan Cook, second of the game, and the Panthers lead by 4-3. We move forward, 57 and 8 seconds, where De Châtelet joins the party, picks up the rebound off Robinson. He shoots and scores to make it 4-4 with 2:52 left. With just 2:19 left, Jay Galbraith to mark Levers. Levers shoots and scores, and surely the Panthers are to be victorious. 57-41. Surely it's game, set and match for those happy Nottingham fans. Or was it? The Coventry Blaze with a minute left. Calder, a deflection from De Châtelet, and bang on 59 minutes, De Châtelet made it 5-5. And then, you guessed it, the unthinkable. Barrymore, Jarmerson shoots and scores with 23 seconds to go on the clock. And the Coventry Blaze beat the Nottingham Panthers by 6-5.
Some great games there from the weekend and from the week. And we can have a look at those results there from last Friday and Saturday and the British Knockout Cup, and which, of course, Cardiff are still in the Knockout Cup semi-finals.
Yes, they are up against Belfast at the beginning of March, so a home and away against them.
And then, of course, Manchester in the Challenge Cup final and the semi-finals of the Knockout Cup as well.
Yeah, we've been fortunate with all the cup games, and we're hoping to bring home both trophies.
Okay, and those are the rest of the results from the league and the Challenge Cup. And we can have a look at the Elite League now as it stands coming into the weekend. And of course, the Sheffield Steelers still with that commanding lead at the top. It's still, it's still a long way to go. But for Cardiff and for Manchester now, you guys are battling for playoff position, I imagine.
Well, we're trying to get the leverage there. You see Cardiff finally got in the fifth spot. It's been a while coming. We've been battling for that position all season, but it just happened this past weekend.
Well, they got a bit lucky, but we got 2 games in hand, and we play them twice, so we just take care of them those 2 games. I think we got that 5th place locked up, but I don't think it really matters. We're going to play one of the top 4 teams no matter what. I think it just comes down to who wants to go to Belfast.
Flip a coin.
Who wants to go to Belfast?
Well, we got them in the Knockout Cup, so I think it's your turn.
We have them in the Challenge Cup, maybe
right.
the Knockout.
What about the playoff beard? Are you going to get it going now or what? I heard you lost yours the other day.
Yeah, I was. A lot of people have been commenting on my beard over the last couple of months, and I got rid of it for this TV program here today. I should have kept it together though, but yeah.
I heard it was a monster.
Years old.
I think I might grow it back. I think it's a fan favorite.
All right. All right, well, earlier on, Dave Sims caught up with Paul Thompson and Dave Matsos, the head coaches of the North and the South.
Paul, the All-Star game, it's been a long, hard year. Is this your best chance of silverware this season?
You're a funny man, aren't you? You're a funny man. Hope so. No, we're looking forward to it. Something different, Dave, and the best players in the league are going to be on show tonight, and it's a nice relaxing atmosphere for once. Yeah. To be in before a big game, and I'm hopeful I can beat Dave Matzos for once.
Tell us the viewing public, what are they going to see a little bit different tonight? Are guys just going to try that extra move? Are they going to try and put a show on for the fans?
Yeah, I mean, we don't want any injuries or anything, but you've got the cream of the crop here, and hopefully, you'll see some good things offensively happen from that. I mean, defense kind of goes out the window a little bit in these games, and I know the goalies don't enjoy it that much, but it's a celebration of the league, of the best players in the league, and we're looking forward to it.
I sneaked into your dressing room. I looked up on your chalkboard. You've got Calder, Carlson and Greg Chambers. You start with a pretty skilled line, don't you? Is that what you hope for next year?
Have a good night, David. Have a good night.
Matt, at the All-Star game, the cream of the crop, are you pleased with your selections?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I mean, it's a great night. You get to see all the best of the Brit Packs, and the imports come in, and at the end of the day, it's a fun night. I mean, everybody's responsibilities are with their respective clubs, but it's a great thing for the fans to come in and see different line combinations. Guys get to play with guys from other teams and some great players. So I think you're going to see some pretty fancy goals tonight and a lot of fun.
I joked with Paul Thompson. He had Greg Chambers playing with Calder and Carlson. I noticed Paul Deniset's on your starting lineup. He'd be a good pick, wouldn't he?
Oh yeah. And Thomas probably got the same thing in mind, but. At the end of the day, again, it's the All-Star game, so you take the best out there. And Denny's had a great year for Belfast, a newcomer to the league. He's posted some great numbers, and he's certainly played a great brand of hockey when he's played against us in Sheffield.
Okay, thanks very much. But one final thing, Tomo hasn't beaten you in this building yet this year. Are you going to make it 3 out of 3?
That's up to these guys.
And I guess Dave Matzos had his team lineups written on a napkin, but... First of all, let's go to our ones to watch now, guys. And a man you know really well, Klutz, is David Beauregard.
Yeah, he's a great hockey player. I mean, he's really skilled. He's obviously got 49 goals this year, but he brings it down to luck. He said he's the luckiest guy. He plays a lot of poker. He says that I'm just lucky. I don't know what he's talking about. 49 goals. How lucky can you get? And we had a conversation here. I go, how many goals do you think you'd have with both eyes? And he goes, you know what, Klutz? He goes, well, listen to me here. He's like, whenever you shoot a gun, he's like, you close one eye. He's like, it's better that I only have one. So
he's a sharpshooter.
He's a sharpshooter. Eh? So he's a funny guy, but
and a great hockey player.
Oh, an unbelievable hockey player.
And Hurtubise as well, a guy that we got for the Edinburgh Capitals. He's come in and he's really done a great job for the Caps.
Yeah, we had a look at him last weekend. He was 1+4 against the Devils up in Edinburgh, and last night he was in Cardiff. And I mean, that kind of player there, he can really make a game happen all by himself. He picks that Edinburgh Capitals team up and it's carried him all season, and he's got him in a chance to get into the playoffs this year.
Okay, now let's look over on the other side, and Greg Chambers is he's just one of those guys that he's just got oodles of talent, and the things that he tries and practices, he actually executes in games as well.
Well, he's got an NHL shot. I mean, you watch him shoot the puck here, and especially you get a chance here tonight. I mean, he's just got such a smooth, fluid delivery, and you don't really realize just how quick it's coming off the stick. And I think he catches a lot of people out, especially the goalies, because I just think he makes it look really easy.
Yep. And then a net man that you've come across, and of course plays in Cardiff, is the captain, Brad Voth, and a guy that we cannot say enough about, can we?
You're just trying to get me to say something stupid.
Hey, you know what? I don't have to work hard at that, buddy. You take care of it all yourself.
I guess so.
Microphone's yours.
Well, hey, he deserves to be here, I guess, but not one of the best skilled players out here, but definitely a hard worker, definitely a fan favorite, definitely a great leader. So
we talk about a game that's full of skill. We won't see many slap shots or big hits. What kind of role is Brad Voth going to play?
Well, hopefully he doesn't play the role he usually plays, because it's an all-star game. I mean, he's good at what he does, and hopefully he doesn't do it tonight, or I might have to jump out there and maybe take care of him. I don't know.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, it's time for me to get your predictions. First of all, Poper, what are you saying?
Well, I think, it was early doors. Paul Thompson put together his team, and he had Brad as his captain, and, I'm going to support the South team coming from the South. I'd like to see them go all the way.
Okay. Klutz?
I'm going to let's go with a 1-0 game. Let's try a defensive. Defensive all-star game here.
Yeah, you've done it already. Folks, join us after the break for the first period of the 2009 All-Star Game. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to the Sky Dome Arena here in Coventry. It's the All-Star game. It's the best of the best. Those stars that we've talked about all year here on Sky Sports, all together, seeing whether those southern softies or whether them tough old northern boys. We'll take a look at the team sheets. And we see a couple of characters there, Greg Chambers and Kevin Reiter, guys that you know well known on the circuit.
Yeah, they certainly are. I mean, Greg Chambers is now playing for the British national team, and you know that well, Dave. He's an integral part, hopefully going forward for the national side. But what a prolific player he's been in the Elite League over the last few years. Let's
take a look at the Northern All-Stars with Werner and Lehman in goal. An abundance of riches there on the blue line. Who stands out to you, Brett?
Well, we watched Taylor Christie last night. He unfortunately got kicked out of the game against Edinburgh and Cardiff, but what a presence he's got. And Rod Serich as well is playing another strong season.
And the forwards for the Northern All-Star. Again, you've got the likes of Beauregard, Herdevies. Again, abundance of riches.
Well, it is. I mean, you're spoiled for choice there. Beauregard has got 49 goals already this season, and what a story he is, you know, considering everything he works through. He's in a real talent.
I'll tell you what, you look at those names, and you see them here as the starting lineup with Phillips in between Denisett and Beauregard, Horn and Sarich on the blue line, and Andrew Werner in goal. There's some damn good players in this league of ours.
Well, Jonathan Phillips is a credit to himself. You know, a British player is now leading this league here as the captain of the Sheffield Steelers.
Those are the southern defensemen and goalies. Up front there, I'm looking forward to seeing Calder, Carlson and Chambers together.
Calder's on fire recently. Last year he was the goal scorer leader, and now he's really catching fire late.
And that's the starting lineup. Calder, Carlson, Chambers, Weaver and Nilsson, and Kevin Reiter in between the goal. There's Paul Thompson. He looks a little more relaxed than he did the last time we were here. And here's a blast from the past. Here's Simon Kirkham, our referee for the All-Star game. The disciplinary chief, actually, of the BMI Baby Elite League. And here we go. Who'd you fancy? Did you go Southern or did you go Northern?
I'd like to see the South do well. I mean, Paul was really flattering in making Brad Vaught the captain of the Cardiff Devils. He's the captain of the Southern team here tonight, so you got to support your loyal, be loyal to your club and your team.
Okay, I'm going to go with our Northern boys then. So we'll battle it out up here in the commentary box. Now here's an issue. There's about 5 number 10s. 10 Denisett gives it to 10 Beauregard, who gives it to 10 Denisett. Fortunately, Jonathan Phillips squares 20, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun and a lot of, perhaps not intensity, but some pretty highlight reel goals tonight. And of course, we'll have the chance to talk about a lot of players. Kevin Reiter, what a year.
Well, just saying, it's nice to see him back. I mean, he's been carrying that organization there in Basingstoke. Yes, they've had a difficult season, but Kevin Reiter has been an inspiration. He reminds me a lot of the former coach there, Mark Bernard, who's now gone on in the Chicago Blackhawks organization.
Of course, he had that terrible injury as well, right at the height of his good form as well.
Well, he has been the saviour for that club, and it's nice to see him back healthy.
Tyler Christie of the Edinburgh Capitals, big bad Brad Voth. Or as Brent likes to call him, my good mate, Brent.
Well, he's got a presence out there on the ice, and he's the captain for a reason. Let's just see what he can do here tonight.
And of course, he's got a couple of feisty little so-and-sos alongside him in Brendan Cook and Bruce Richardson.
He'll be playing a little bit bigger tonight, that's for sure, as now Voth again with the puck.
I think I'd play pretty tough playing alongside Voth, you know.
Well, you were thinking he was probably even bigger than his stats were saying.
Well, exactly. No, I think when the national anthem was on there, I reckon he's a good 6'5" plus, isn't he?
He certainly is. He's a monster of a man, and to play as he does, and Klutz was giving him a disservice, I thought, before the game there. He can certainly play the game as well.
Klutz probably one of the guys who can do that, though. Shot comes in, first goal of the night, goes the way of Bruce Richardson. He shoots, he scores, and
soft touch there, nicely laid on, and maybe a little bit more time he didn't have in the game, but a real quality finish.
And the Southerns lead by 1 goal to 0. Nice little finish, but this is what you're going to find in the All-Star game. Tic-tac-toe.
Richardson goes to net well, and look how casually he puts that away, and Werner really doesn't stand a chance on that one as he goes long side, and Andrew was committed to the shot potentially, but the pass gets through, and Richardson will take care of that one all day.
Another player who's had a great year for the Nottingham Panthers, Bruce Richardson. Something the Panthers haven't had for a while, that gritty centreman, real leader on his team.
Well, last time it was probably David Struch, if we're looking back, actually. He was a similar type of player that played like Bruce Richardson, and he's got quality, he's got grit, and he's got that substance the Panthers need in LA City.
So we're seeing Reynolds of Basingstoke, who gets the puck in deep. Carl Horn of the Edinburgh Capitals out there. Phil Hill, who Brent knows very well from his time in Cardiff. Another chance out in front. Werner making the save. Werner thinks it's a Newcastle game. He's faced 8 shots already.
It was good to chat to Burns beforehand. Long teammates a long time ago. We played in junior together, and it's good to catch up. He's here probably the tail end of his career, but he's doing a great job for Newcastle this year.
Reynolds did good well there, forcing, and Nawada loses out to home favourite Russell Cowley. And Phil Hill just an inch offside.
Nice to see Phil Hill in the lineup there, and we look at both Russ Cowley and Phil Hill, and Dave Matzos here on the screen getting his team ready. But Phil Hill, a player who's taking a lot of pride, wanting to hope to be a part of the GB setup here in the future.
Had a very good year. He's put some numbers on the board this year, hasn't he?
Well, I mean, that was one of the things that Phil had a good start a couple seasons ago with Sheffield, then had an injury and never really got the season he wanted out of him last year. But he's now answering to some of the critics that I think sometimes have been unjustly sort of brought upon him. And Phil is a real credit to himself, and I hope he gets himself in the GB frame.
Jeff Hutchins, who was top scorer for the Coventry Blaze in his season here, then went to Belfast and was the top scorer there, and then went to Newcastle and was the top scorer there, and he's back in Newcastle again. Corey Nielsen, player coach of the Nottingham Panthers, thought about the big bullet and then thought it was an all-star game. Werner's lost it, and it gets tapped in at the back door. Shot came in, Werner made the first save.
It's tough to play that shot. Nielsen has got that real sort of coy delivery where he sort of just tempts you with the initial slap shot, and everybody kind of commits to it, and then he's able to make that nice little slight move, and you watch him here. He really cocks that shot there, and he's going to rip it, and then it's the second one. They're just a little bit out of position, and Werner isn't able to tidy up that loose puck that's rattling around between his legs.
Now the Southerners go 2-0 up, and Corey Nielsen celebrates. It's the Kulikov line out there. Was it Kulikov who got that final touch? Slava Kulikov then with the final touch. So Richardson and Kulikov, our 2 goal scorers, as the Southern team take the advantage. Here's Robert Dowd, shoves one, shoots and scores, and Robert Dowd just following on his club form.
Well, he's been doing all season, as you well know, Dave, and he is a rookie in the Elite League this season, and what a prolific year he's had. He's getting himself potentially in the GB lineup as well. He was there with the qualifications in November for the GB setup, and now he just continues, as you say. His club form has been great, and he gets the opener here for the North, which is beautiful. Up high, short side, pass righter.
Finishes very well. Kevin Reiter is beaten. Robert Dowd, we see it again. First shift for Robert Dowd as well. He must think all years are like this, mustn't he? He just joins the team, probably wins the championship, ends up going on the national team and scores in the All-Star game. Here's Chambers, robs it, and a poke check by Andrew Werner.
Werner's got to play his own defense up there right now. He's getting a little bit careless up there.
I said to David Matzos when he chose Andrew Werner as his starting goalie, why Werner? He says, well, an All-Star game will be just like playing for the Vipers. I don't think there's going to be not too much defense tonight.
Yes, he's probably well used to it. But it's Burns has been has had a standout career. He went to go to the Northern organization initially before coming over to Europe, but been in Austria, been in Germany, and now over here in the UK. And Rob Wilson and him came together through the Peterborough Pete's organization before I arrived, and nice to see him here enjoying himself. He
looks to me to be a very technically good goalie, square onto everything, and that's why he's played in the leagues that he's played in.
Well, he was a second rounder, and he was a potential guy that really could have had the opportunity and maybe should have played in the National Hockey League. For whatever reason, it didn't happen, but he certainly had the talent and skill.
Here's Paul Denisette, who's ripped the league up. He gives it to Beauregard, to Denisette. Quite frightening seeing those two on the same line, isn't he? Denisette, he's battling in there, and Reiter moves the puck out. Dan Carlson, well, chip through the neutral zone. It's almost like fantasy hockey in All-Star game, isn't it? You get to see, people like Beauregard, who scored, 40-odd goals, and Denisette, who's, in my opinion, probably been as good as any player in the league.
Well, when Denisette came in the beginning of the season, I thought he was on a whole other level, and he got injured and missed for a little bit. But you listen to Davey Matzos talking about the possibility of whether or not he could recruit a Paul Denisette next year. He's an attractive player to have in the lineup for anybody.
I think everybody would love Paul Denisette on their team.
Just very sharp, and he's just very clean, and he makes plays happen. He's just very exact.
Richardson and Cook are the Panthers, then with Brad Voth. Mark Hurtubise leaves it for Ashley Tate. Walker's at the back door. Hurtubise, who has single-handedly, I believe, given the Edinburgh Capitals a chance of playoff hockey. They did it last year with probably a better team than they've got this year, and Again, Hurtubise. What a season standout year.
Well, he's now right up there. I think he's the 3rd in scoring, and he's had just a huge week in the last year. He's picked up 8 points, and last night he scored a goal to tie it with 44 seconds left to go to take it in overtime in Cardiff.
Ashley Tate to Adam Walker. Adam Walker takes a shot right, kicks it away. Voff and Tate clash. Here comes Brendan Cook. Scored short-handed against the Steelers. We saw that goal a little earlier. Here's Corey Nielsen, his player coach. Man at the back door was Richardson. It's going to fall, is it, to Cook? No. Second bite, Richardson's looking for it. Cook has it. Richardson makes himself available. One timer maybe for Nielsen.
Good patience there. Cook trying to load up his player coach that he's with there in Nottingham, and Nielsen will shoot it anytime he gets a chance.
He has a howitzer as well, doesn't he?
Well, and the thing is, he's able to get it off in a lot of times in some awkward body positions, and I think that's what he makes him even more dangerous.
He's got all the skills, hasn't he, Corey Nielsen? I mean, not just the shot, he jumps in the play. He's great hands.
And to combine that with the player coach role, I mean, people really don't understand just how much goes on in the player's mind, preparing everybody else as well. He's thinking about himself, but his whole team, and he's really been a credit to himself, how he's conducted himself with the Panthers this year.
Owada will try and move the puck forward to Shields, intercepted by Nielsen. Leaves it for Teplitsky. Oh, what a pass by Teplitsky to Cowley. Phil Hill jumps in the play, takes a shot and scores. Phil Hill makes it 3-1. All about Tyson Teplitsky though. Super pass. And this is what you want to see in an all-star game. Your best players doing what they do best.
Exactly, and it was the great outlet pass that you mentioned right away, Dave. You saw it, you knew something good was going to come from it, and then it's feathered back to Hill. Hill in this position here just shoots the puck quickly, and maybe doesn't get all of it there, but shoots it hard enough and gets it through Werner, and Werner again having a fist of puck out of the back of the net as he puts through the 5-hole.
Phil Hill shoots and scores. Tyson Teplitsky and Tony Hand with the assist.
That's well said, well said. Well, we have a number 9 in the lineup here tonight. It's Jeff Flower, though. Nice to see. I mean, Tony, that was very honest in admitting, obviously, at 41 years of age, but Tony Hand, my goodness, what a story and what a credit he is to British ice hockey and to himself.
And of course, Tony, you can see why David Beauregard's got 49. I mean, Tony just makes so still at 41 years of age.
Well, he made Joe Tulare look. I mean, where's Joe this year? I know he's in Italy. Hopefully, he's doing as well as he did last year. But whoever is the guy who gets that one chosen golden nugget ticket to go to Manchester and play with Tony Hand.
We'll talk about Tulare in a minute. Actually, here's Shields makes a nice move. Reynolds is out in front. Kulikov comes one outlet looking for Glower. Werner comes across. Here is Jeff Glower. Holds onto the puck, Slanina, Richardson, and here's Slanina again. Kulikov, back to Ben O'Connor. Savage with a final stick check, gets it back to Kulikov. The point you make about Tulare and Beauregard and those guys who had the ticket on the golden line that he's with Tony Hand, is that actually Tulare's not had a good year in Italy, and it's amazing how many players don't have a good year the year after a year with Tony.
Well, I mean, look at Johan Molin as well, who had a fantastic season. He's gone on and had a strong season in Panthers, but never quite been as prolific as he was in Manchester. No. And, you know, it just goes to what's saying, you can't score without the service, and Tony Hand has provided that for a number of players throughout his career. When
Tony does his recruiting in the summer, he says, it's £100 less, but you do get to play with me. You'll make it up next year in the next job.
Well, and it's he's not lying, is he? He's telling the exact truth.
George Owada, who started his career actually in Manchester, where Tony Hand plies his trade now. That was the last year they played at the MEN Arena, and then, of course, has been with the Belfast Giants ever since. Kyle Horn, who was actually coached by Tony Hand 3 years ago when Tony was in Edinburgh. Dan Carlson, who Paul Thompson still rates as the best two-way centre in the league. He was his first choice on the All-Star team. Calder tries to get the puck out to Chambers. I'll make a little bet with you, Brent. Calder, Carlson, Chambers, right? That line next year together, I reckon.
Well, I saw the reaction from Paul in the opening sequence of the show there, and so the quick closure of the interview suggested quite a bit to me.
Well, of course, Thompson coaches Chambers for the national team. Hutchins is waiting for the drop pass. He gets it. He's on the line with Dowd. Christie tries to jump in the play as well. Can't do so. Jesl and Dean also out on that line for the northern team. But Calder goes rink wide and finds Reynolds. He's had a good year in Basingstoke under difficult circumstances. Drops it to Chambers. Chambers, who always finds the pass to Calder. And I think if Chambers did end up in Coventry, he's got Coulson on one side and he's got Chambers on the other. Adam Calder would be in dreamland, wouldn't he?
Well, the thing is about Chambers is a fantastic catalyst himself. Not only can he score goals, but he can make things happen and give to those guys who can score as well.
Now drop pass and the shot comes in from Hutchins. And all-star hockey is end-to-end stuff where Calder feeds Chambers and Chambers dances inside and just shelves it. That's what Chubs is all about, folks. As skilled as they come. And when you're playing with Coulson, Calder and Nielsen, well, we took that goal up, didn't we?
Well, I mean, it's, you know what, there's been a few times in my career where you know that actually before you shoot the puck that it's going to go in, but you watch the delay here in Chambers and how well he controls it and just sets it up. He knows exactly what he's going to do when he gets in that space, and he absolutely just rifles this thing up off the crossbar and in, and Vernon just has to resign himself and just let it go past.
You don't want to be disrespectful to Basingstoke, and Basingstoke have had 3 or 4 great years of Greg Chambers. But God, you'd want to see him on a team going for a championship, wouldn't you, Chambers?
Well, I'm sure Greg Chambers would like that opportunity himself, wouldn't he? I mean, the guy certainly is a quality hockey player that deserves that opportunity. I think every player wants that. You know, he's an ambitious player who every night is putting the points up, and you don't do that unless you're showing up and performing, and he's obviously clearly shown.
Well, Brendan Cook, he works hard for the Panthers, and he's just battled in an all-star game so hard there for his Southern team. Feeds off, got the shot deflected by Nielsen. And here come the Northern boys. Genesis is the head man, but Toplitsky intercepts. Back comes Jonathan Phillips, the Steelers captain. Knocks the puck out in front to Beauregard. Beauregard and Denisette playing with Jonathan Phillips. Here now comes Cook to Richardson, Bruce Richardson. Nielsen with a bullet.
It's a nice move from Richardson, though, just to turn himself into a backward skating position to load up Nielsen's shot.
Denisette to Beauregard, just gets intercepted. And I know you were talking about David Beauregard earlier, but you know, the disability that he has and the ability that he has to play the game, he's an inspiration, isn't he?
Well, he certainly is. I mean, I'm not sure everybody really recognizes that he has partially sighted in the one eye. And for people who don't know much about the sport of ice hockey, the speed in which this game is played and how much the play comes from your side, either side at any point in the game and receiving the puck or even receiving contact, it is a real challenge to not have full sight in both your eyes. And for David Beauregard to have made the most of his hockey ability with that disability is inspiring.
Well, I'll tell you a story. End of the first period of the game in Ice Sheffield earlier in the year, I was talking to a linesman and he had got his ribs iced up. And David had actually skated past him twice and got the butt end into his ribs as he was skating. Purely and simply, he didn't actually see the linesman on the board and he was going past him. And I explained to the linesman David's lack of sight in that one eye, and then of course he realised he was just standing in the wrong position. Wow. And Beauregard wasn't seeing him as he was going past him. It was incredible. And then Beauregard goes to score a hat-trick.
Well, it is. I haven't seen him score yet this season, actually, in Cardiff, and I'm just being honest about it. I haven't seen him score but there was a part of me that wonders sometimes with that full facial shield, whether people just sort of took him a little bit lightly and gave him a little bit of space, but they don't do that anymore.
No, they don't. I think you might do that for the first time you play against him.
Then you know awfully quick when you look at the scoring charts.
Yes. Here's Herdebees who will chase Kevin Reiter down. We see much of that Slonina, but Hall, who came in as a first-line centre, and with all their injuries, ended up playing as a defenseman and now becomes an all-star as a defenseman. I think he's spectacular. I think he's rock solid, that Slonina.
He is. You know, not only is he gifted, he's a little bit like a Sergei Zubov in the NHL, but he's very strong and he's very committed on keeping the puck in the offensive blue line, and he gets stuck in and he plays resistant defense.
Herdebees has got Walker and Sarich. Tate joins the play and just gives once to Kevin Reiter. Referee Simon Kirkham's got an early train home, so he says, no, I'm not going to blow the whistle. Cowley gets it across. Back to Russ Cowley. Phil Hill at the back door, maybe. Cowley takes a shot. Werner makes the save.
Well, the guys are looking to test Andrew up high, and trying to test those aging knees, see if he'll drop down low, and Burns is having a smile himself there, but he does well to control that rebound.
There's David Matzos, together with Brett. How did Klutz end up on the bench? Klutz, that's the closest Klutz is going to get to an all-star game.
I think Dave wanted to make himself look even better looking, so he brought Brett beside him.
Well, proving the point that Klutz is an all-star. What a character he is, eh?
He certainly is. He was telling us all about his beard there, and he says it was pretty tough looking, but now that he's got it off, he thinks he maybe should have just kept it on.
Here's Mark Richardson, started the year off in Basingstoke, now with the Panthers, to Reynolds. who stayed loyal with Basingstoke. We like players who stay loyal with their team, and certainly he did that.
It's a big part of why Basingstoke is still going today, isn't it, Dave? And battling through some difficult times and good players have evolved through that situation.
Yeah. Where is Danny Stewart? Oh, dear me. Here's Richardson. He's got a chance on Werner. And Werner covers well. Good old Georgia Wilder helping out defensively. You don't normally say those words, helping out defensively in an all-star game. Here's Reynolds again. Lundeen. Jez Lundeen showing a game with the Brits. Chance out in front. What a finish. Nice play, Colin Shields. Lovely finish, Georgia Wilder.
Wow, and Colin Shields, leading scorer of the Belfast Giants, he just shows that touching around the goal, and he sets up Georgia Wilder. Georgia isn't going to make a mistake from there, but Colin Shields is nice to watch. Just how well he controls that puck. And great time to draw a Ryder out of position in the short side post and feed a Wilder.
You know, I was looking at the team list today, Brent, before I drove down there. And we see all-stars, and now the British players, they sit alongside the import players, don't they?
They completely do, and I mean, there he goes. It's a Maine university for 4 years and a full ride in Division I school. I mean, Colin Shields is the real deal, and you look at John Weaver. John Weaver is arguably one of, if not, the best two-way hockey player in this league.
Chance for Calder. Kicked away by, or sticked away by Andrew Werner. Here's Calder again. When he was wearing the blaze top, he'd be letting that rip, but he's holding on to it a bit longer. Floated pass by Chambers. Nielsen takes a shot. That was gorgeous by Chambers again. But now you talk about, your Phillipses, your Tates, your Downs, Sheffield, then you've got your Clarks and your Myers in Nottingham. I
think the testament to it, Dave, is that these players now, British players, go overseas and go on the continent and go and are employed there as an import player, effectively, and are that attractive for teams in France, teams in Italy, teams.
Well, take Gregory. What a good year he's had as well.
Exactly. So I mean, I think it's a lot to do with the raising the level, and players get better by playing with better players. But full credit to the British players; they've got the talents and ability, and they push themselves and apply themselves, and they're players are showing us what they're capable of.
Corey Nielsen, a man with all the skills, misses Toplitsky out, a man Brent knows very well indeed. Tyson Toplitsky is probably just the ultimate offensive defenseman.
Well, he's actually been and probably a difference of a goal against for us and probably a goal for the Devils since his arrival. And I mean, that's a very valuable player. It's hard to give that much credit to a player, but Tyson Toplitsky brings that to the Cardiff Devils and has for the last few seasons.
There's some great offensive defensemen this year, isn't there? We talked about Nielsen, Toplitsky, Rod Sarich, guys like that.
Well, and even Kenton Smith from Manchester Phoenix. I mean, there is a guy who is steady as the day is long, closes down everybody's space, time and space, but can make good, clever decisions at all times on the ice in the offensive zone as well.
Hutchins tries to find Phillips. Slanina comes across. Slanina has got Voth, and Voth just gets it across to Richardson.
Fun to watch Richardson here so far. He's pretty clever in and out of those tight spaces.
I think Richardson would just love to play with Voth. He's one of those guys who must be thinking, I could play with you every game. In fact.
Well, he just filled that hole in, and Voth was always posting up and supporting him. You can just see how he just opened up things for Voth as well.
Memo to Jared Adams, maybe, Brent?
He'll be watching when this comes out here tomorrow.
It is good to see. It is to see those special little lineups, isn't it? Where you can see a Richardson and a Voth, and you can actually see that working at club level, couldn't you?
Well, exactly. And I think anybody who's watching this at home or watching this here live here tonight, you do make some mental notes, don't you? And no doubt that man will be making a few right now.
Oh yes, he's got Chambers penciled in, underlined.
He might even have a pen mark on that.
I think he could do, yes. Here comes Jonathan Phillips, Beauregard. Of course, he's lucky he's got Calder and Colson, I think, on 2-year tickets, so he's got 2/3 of the line, hasn't he?
Well, he had to work very hard to make sure he secured that this summer, and Paul obviously knows that recruiting is a huge part of coaching success. It's like Chris McSorley used to say, the key to coaching is getting off the team bus with a better team. Yes. So you got to have the right personnel in your lineup.
Oh, the Hoffmeister just rips one, but it goes off the top of the crossbar.
Takes a little bit of paint off and tests the seats over there in block number 2.
Do we not pay enough attention to the skills that Brad Voth has? And we over-focus on perhaps the naughty stuff?
Well, I think you over-focus because he's a larger-than-life character, and I think that people don't. I mean, the guy scored 29 goals last year, and that's just not taken away from him. I think Brad lost some confidence with some difficulty this year with the suspension and some other things. I think sometimes he feels his style of play that he's always going to be victimized, and it gets difficult. But he has a lot of talent, a lot of ability, and he can just out and out will that puck into the back of the net and lead the team when he's playing at his full capacity.
Is he victimised because he's 6'5", or is he really the Antichrist?
No, I think he's victimized because he plays an aggressive hockey game, and I think you know, sometimes the rules change on the fly sometimes, and you just wonder exactly what the criteria are. And Brad does play with his heart on the sleeve too, and he's always kind of responding, I think, sometimes to what he thinks is, you know, sliding goalposts.
If you've got this on record at home, just wind back a few seconds. You've just seen David Beauregard miss from 3 foot. I think that must be the first time this season he's missed from 3 foot. I mean, he's scored so many of his goals in that dirty position. He gets into those ugly spots, doesn't he?
Well, that's what you've got to be to score him, and you know, he's obviously made a knack of doing that. And it's just like you said, you got to be in that position. You got to be in it to win it.
Lee Mitchell, another guy who's had a crackerjack of a year in Hull, and again one of those British players that has benefited from a few injuries, which means his team's been short-handed and he's benefited from the ice time.
Yeah, I think he's probably come in a soft pocket where no one really was looking at a Lee Mitchell as, you know, as a real sort of first-string British hockey player, but he has developed into that with the opportunity in Hull. And
another guy who's battling for the trip to Poland with the GB team.
Well, like I said, he's right there on the cusp, and here tonight in front of Paul Thompson, he can certainly show the skills he's got, as Paul will see him in league action as well.
Hurtubise pulls a great move, still holds on to it. Gets it back to Jez Lundin. Taylor Christie joins him. Intercepted by Nielsen. And Nielsen bangs one off the boards. Joins the rush and, in fact, heads the rush himself. Nielsen is looking for a pass. He makes the pass. And the two defensemen are the two furthest guys forward. Only in an all-star game, folks.
And you look at Nielsen, he reminds me a lot of Hurtubise, and just how he's able to move that puck from left to right. And really, Nielsen can freeze you where you think you've got a chance to poke check him, and he'll just draw that puck left to right, and he's right past you.
Thompson of the Basingstoke club, who actually was the scorer of the second goal for the Southern team. We gave it to Kulikov, but it was Thompson who was the scorer of that second goal. So goals at the moment for Bruce Richardson, Thompson, Robert Dowd, Phil Hill, Greg Chambers and George Awada, and it's 4 goals to 2 as we have just 2 minutes left in the first period. And then, of course, we get the All-Star skills competition, and in these events, these are all... We'll talk about that in a minute. Let's see Hurtubise. Hurtubise v. Reiter. Oh, right to the eyes.
Oh, and a clever little play there.
Yeah, but when we go to the All-Star games, you always think of the skills competition, and that's kind of the interesting bit of the night.
Well, the interesting thing is, if you talk about the NHL All-Star, nice finish there, and that's the NHL class move, as Hurtubise goes right up over Reiter's shoulder.
Ashley Tate with the pass, Hurtubise with the finish. And all of a sudden, those Northern boys are back in it. It's 4 goals to 3, and he's only doing what he's done for Edinburgh all year.
Exactly, and he is on a rich vein of form at the moment. You watch him move the puck down to Tate, make this freezes the defense, and actually freezes Reiter to the post. He's got to commit. He drops down to his knees, and up over the shoulder goes Hurtubise with his first goal of the game.
So the way it started, it looked like the Southerners were going to have it all their own way, but the Northern lads have chipped away. But Brent's boys still lead my boys by 4 goals to 3. Here's Slanina.
Just chatting there about the All-Star game, though, Dave. You know, just talking about the NHL All-Star game in Centeno Chera, you know, the 105.4 miles per hour, this fastest shot, that captures the imagination of fans. People who don't know much about the sport, but can understand about raw power. And that's the type of thing that is interesting, raw power and speed in an All-Star competition format here in the skills competition. It's exciting to watch.
Now your guy Vother's going to have a go at the old Hardy shot. Do you reckon he can get around the 100 mark?
I think he can. I think it all depends on how you catch it. I mean, if guys are allowed to skate into it as they do, or whether they're just stationary. But I think sometimes you shoot it even harder in a game than you do in a competition, because you're actually trying to rifle it from an angle, try to get it past the goalie, or really in the heat of the moment you can get a little bit more on it. But no doubt guys are up around what they can do maximum in this type of format. Last
time there was an All-Star game in our league, that man there, David Matsos, was a player in it, of course, an illustrious career over here with the Belfast Giants and, of course, the Cardiff Devils. You must have played against David a couple of times.
Yeah, well, exactly. We're from the hometown area, and at the same time, he's had a great coaching career as well here. Now it's quickly tied up 4-4.
Oh, Reynolds and Shields all combined. And a nice finish into an empty net. Poor old Kevin Reiter and Andrew Verner. It's just like, it's not an all-star game for them, it's just another night in the office.
Well, exactly. And it reminds me of the game we had last night. The Devils were up 3-0 versus the Edinburgh Capitals. The next thing you know, it's 3-3 and 4-3, 4-4. And this game here will look like they're being under control from the Southern team. And now all of a sudden, the Northern team here in the last couple minutes of play in this first period have leveled it here at 4.
Hurtubise, Awada and Garside have scored 3 straight. And the Northern lads have tied it with those Southern boys. It's now tied at 4-4. Less than a minute remains. See if there's any more goals left in this one. It's the Coulson-Calder line with Chambers. Coulson out in front. Werner had already gone down. Chambers picks up on that loose puck on the sidewall. Tries to feather a pass to Slanina. It was intercepted by Ben O'Connor. And Reiter quickly moves the puck. And I would imagine Kevin Reiter will be another one of those players in the summer that a lot of the bigger teams will look at Reiter and see the great year he's had in Basingstoke and just wonder whether he's the man to lead them to a Challenge Cup or even a championship.
Well, exactly. You look at the rotation. It's here Shields on a breakaway.
Shields and Reiter.
Oh, did he
nice
sell that
move.
move? Great move, but maybe probably a better save. Although it wasn't a huge double kick pad save, just to get enough on that to recover Reiter from the move that Shields made on it. It's fantastic.
So at the end of the first period, the Northern All-Stars 4, the Southern All-Stars 4. Richardson opening the scoring for the Southern team. Thompson made it 2-0. Thompson of Basingstoke. Dowd of Sheffield made it 2-1. Let's see some of these goals again. I think we've seen the first goal here.
That was Richardson tapping in the back door. Nice play there from Cook, the two Nottingham players, tandem there. This was Dowd.
We've seen the Robert Dowd finish. Have you ever seen a rookie have such a great year, scored 20 goals plus in his first season?
Well, even chatting with Steve Morey, I think he's the next superstar in British ice hockey as far as British talent. There's a lot of them coming through, but to get a goal scorer as prolific as Robert Dowd has been this first season is uncommon.
We just saw Greg Chambers. He was nice play out in front, Georgia wider. So the Cones have come out onto the ice. And we see Coulson, Teplitsky and Cowley. And we see Herdebees, Denisett and Robert Dowd. So Dan Carlson of Coventry against Robert Dowd of the Sheffield Steelers. And then Teplitsky of Cardiff and Herdebees of Edinburgh. And here we go then. So Dowd in grey, Dan Carlson in blue, in and out and in and out. Carlson just leads as we hit the halfway mark. They turn on a sixpence, Dowd catches up and Carlson that leads. And they come all the way back, and at the first turnover, Carlson just has the advantage.
Well, he was really smooth to those cones there, Dave, and there's Teplitsky who makes a little bit of a meal of it there, and that's the hard part, is getting the speed and control.
So Teplitsky did make a meal of it. Hertebees has caught up. Nobody yet has put the cone back. So this could be interesting now for Russ Cowley. Can he get the extra goal? And that's what it is, an extra goal for the Southern team. And Denisett's fallen over. So Cowley is going to be victorious. The Southern team get the extra goal, and that means the Southern team will lead by 5 goals to 4. We'll be back with more All-Star action from the Skydome Arena after this short break. Welcome back to the All-Star game here at the Skydome Arena in Coventry, where the Southerners lead the Northerners by 5 goals to 4, 4 each at the end of the first period. And then after the relay race, the Southerners won, they get the extra goal. Well, there's their goalie, Kevin Reiter, faced 14 shots in a period. Normal day at the office.
Well, as you said, he's facing a lot of that with the Basingstoke Bison this season, and he did pretty well, but in this competition, as it's always going to be, it's going to be difficult to make saves.
And your old mate, Andrew Werner there, doing what he does best. He stopped a lot of rubber again.
He did. He's certainly seeing a lot of it, but 4 got past both these guys. It was just the 5 that got in the All-Star competition.
And there's your chauffeur home, Brad Buff.
Well, I mean, let's see if he can't get on the scoreboard here right now. He's the captain. He's leading this team here at the moment, and he's got him in the lead. Right
now, it tells you there is probably the league's franchise player. He's got the looks, he's got the long flowing hair, he's 7'3". You know, he can do a bit of everything. You're very lucky to have him in Cardiff, aren't you?
Well, I think we know that. That's why he's been signed early, and he's been put in the roster for next year's team in Cardiff, and looking for stability to go forward, build on, get bigger and better.
You didn't trust those other 9 teams, did you, Brent?
Well, I think everyone knows what Brad Voth brings to the table, and he had to make a good decision quickly.
Chance straight off the bat for the Northern All-Stars as we are underway with the second period with Tyson Teplitsky to Voth. Out to Brendan Cook, and Richardson just ahead of him. Intercepted by Sarich. Cook out muscles Sarich. Here is Cook again. Sarich covers Richardson, and the Northerners break. With Paul Denisett of the Belfast Giants. He wears 10. He tries to find David Beauregard of the Manchester Phoenix. He wears 10. Beauregard from close range. Puck comes out. Look at this 2-on zip break. 5 have sunk low. Cook and Richardson versus Werner. Richardson, Cook, Werner denies.
Great play there. Werner coming across, and he totally committed to the save, but the guys are being a little bit too clever there, and Verns is too schooled for that move.
It's not very often you see 2 men break from their defensive blue lines unopposed.
I thought it was a terrible line change, but it's just too many guys down low.
Not a lot of back checking going on there, Brent.
No, just forward checking completely.
Lee Mitchell of the Hull Stingrays out with Ben O'Connor. Here's Herdebees. Man out in front was Carl Horn. He's never been that forward. He's never been behind the opposition's net for Edinburgh all season.
Well, he's
and look
getting
at him dangling now, yeah.
Thought that was his helmet, but that's the nosebleed.
Here's Lee Mitchell of the Stingrays. Top of the circle, fakes a shot, and Taylor Christie of the Capitals had come across, and all of a sudden Horn has got back. Adam Walker of the Manchester Phoenix. We spoke about the Brits getting chances, and Adam Walker, another one, scored valuable and vital goals for the Manchester Phoenix this year.
Well, he's done a real great job at middle, and so important to get a good quality centerman, and he plays that second line and also third line responsibility, and Tony Hand has held on to Adam Walker for the last number of seasons.
Phil Hill loses out. Here comes Jez Lundeen. Lundeen of the Newcastle Vipers. Unfortunately, Ed Courtney and David Longstaff had to pull out of the All-Star game through injury, so Lundeen here. Hertebees walks around O'Connor, leaves it for Ashley Tate, who takes the first shot.
Lundeen's a good British talent, though, as well, and deserved it in his own right to be here. He certainly is impressed whenever I've watched him play straight up against all the imports in the league.
Well, you know what? When Bert Henderson got injured for Newcastle this year, and having Rob Wilson as a 41-year-old defenseman as well, yeah. I mean, he's going to get a lot of ice time, and he's benefited from that.
He certainly has, and you know, the thing is, he's got a lot of courage, and he plays the game with good heart, and he's responsible, and he doesn't just play erratic defense. He actually, considering, you know, sometimes the way Newcastle plays, and they rely upon Andy Werner to do a lot of the defense for him, he's played a good, solid game, and he moves the puck well, and he doesn't take unnecessary chances.
Were you surprised that Payet and Thornton weren't in the All-Star game for a little mid-period entertainment?
Well, the thing is Payet is he's a live character that is still, you know, a very marketable player in this league for a reason, and he's been a real big face for the Newcastle Vipers for the last number of years.
He's a character, isn't he? Like Votha, like those guys.
Exactly, and you can't have enough of those guys. When Payet comes down to Cardiff and plays, everybody loves to hate him, but you know, he plays up to it, and he's a little bit of an exhibitionist, and you can't have enough of that showmanship.
Not at all. Yeah, we like Votha and we like Payet, but you know one thing that might be wrong with our game, Brent? We struggle to think of a third guy. And you know what, in years gone by, there's been a string of good characters, and you want to see more Voths and you want to see more Payets, more characters in the game.
Well, even like a Rick Brabant and players like that. I mean, you know, people just love to hate Rick Brabant, but there were those kind of guys that you just wanted to hate them, and fans wanted to make chants about them, and wanted to ridicule them, and wanted to embarrass them, and wanted to have them being heard on the ice and going after them saying those types of things. And you know, those are important parts of the sport.
Of course, players used to hate Rick Brabant, didn't they?
Well, they did, and on his own team.
I was just going to say on his own team, especially.
Own team, yeah. But you know what? That added extra spice to the equation, and kept us all honest.
But then again, they won medals, didn't they, playing with Rick Brabant?
Exactly. He drove you on. He was a very ambitious player, highly motivated. Obviously, you know, was very proud of his own ability. But hey, there's nothing wrong with that. He could back it up.
Slava Kulikov tries to find Richardson, can't do so. Here's Reynolds of Basingstoke. Kenton Smith goes to cover him. Gets the puck back to Kulikov. Kulikov drives forward, looking for Glower. Jeff Glower's an interesting character as well. You look at him now and he kind of struggles to get from A to B, but he gets from A to B and he gets there well, and he's had another career year in Hull. He's
an excellent hockey player. I mean, he has become an institution there in Hull over the last number of seasons, but Rick Strachan, you know, commenting about him, is probably his best coachable players. Here he comes in here right now making plays, but he is underestimated for just how talented he is, and his ability is, he just fights for every puck and every opportunity on the ice.
Huge heart.
Oh, and he plays with a heart on his sleeve as well.
Yeah. And we talked about recruiting in the first period, and when you're recruiting any player, a player that cares has to be at the top of your list, doesn't he?
Well, it's the most important quality, I think. You know, if you got a guy that's got all the talent in the world and just doesn't want to bring it to you night in, night out, it's like a man you can't rely on, and you'd rather no man at all. You got a guy that's giving you heart, that's what you want to see.
Simon Kirkham was almost tempted into a penalty then.
I think he swallowed that whistle.
Yeah, he quickly realised he'd got Newsnight on record at home and he wanted to get back for it.
He hasn't been on the skates as often this year, has old Simon, so he's probably got the burning legs here at the moment.
Kenton Smith does a nice job. Here's Calder. Calder's got Chambers. I'm sure Paul Thompson's thinking, yes, Chambers looks good in blue.
Oh. Good save there from Werner, but well, it almost sounds as though it's a certainty here. I'm assuming there's conversations that you and Paul Thompson are having here off camera.
No, I'm completely making all of this up, but I'm sure it'll come across. Here's Hutchins. Hutchins has got down, but Hutchins, being the goal scorer, tries to do it on his own. Teplitsky gets it out to Chambers. Chambers comes down on his off wing, cuts to the middle. Now drop pass, Carlson. Carlson's looking for Calder. Adam Calder shoots and scores. Chambers, Calder and Carlson. It's starting to flow off the tongue.
Oh, it certainly is. And you watch the way Chambers just set that puck up on the blue line there. And it's really hard for people to understand just how impressive that was. Watch Chambers just dots it and leaves it still for Carlson to come right in. And Carlson looks back, and his option is right on the stick of his line mate there, right to Adam Calder. And Adam Calder knows exactly what to do from there.
Just as we called it, Carlson, Chambers, Calder. And the Southerners lead by 6-4 as the league's hotshot Adam Calder, last year's MVP, extends the advantage. Denisek gets robbed by Chambers. Carlson gives it back to Calder to Chambers. Chambers hangs on to it, fires just over the glove hand of Andrew Werner. Denisek tried to find Phillips, intercepted. Here's Calder again. Back to Carlson. It's telepathy between these boys. Nielsen's joining the play. I think Corey Nielsen is one player we can rest assured won't be joining the Coventry players. I don't think there's too much love lost between Thompson and Corey Nielsen.
Well, Corey Nielsen, I think, has done a great job, as I said, with Nottingham Panthers, but he's got a lot of hockey still left in him, and I think his heart and his passion is in Nottingham.
Adam Calder gets taken down by Werner. And you know what? When Simon Kirkham retired, I think he lost the whistle because he's thrown it away tonight. Denisek to Beauregard. Phillips wants it. Beauregard holds on. Kenton Smith comes across and robs it off his Manchester Phoenix teammate, Ben O'Connor. Something's got Brad Voth laughing at ice there, and gets it back to Shields. And Brendan Cook is out on the ice. And Taylor Christie will have an easy out. Look where Beauregard is. And here is Beauregard. Oh, it's Hurtubise, my apologies. There's 3 10s out there.
It is hard to keep up.
Yeah, here's Richardson back to Brendan Cook. Cook's got the big man in front and he just couldn't find him. Cook tries to find Voth again. Hurtubise in the red helmet of the Edinburgh Capitals. Ben O'Connor of the Coventry Blaze covers him. Ashley Tate of the Steelers now on the puck. Adam Walker, of course, of Manchester on that line, and Jez Lundeen just kicks the puck into the neutral zone, picked up by Christie. Ashley Tate tries to find Hurtubise, eventually gets to him. Lundeen's broken into the crease, and nice hands by Ben O'Connor.
Certainly was. To pick that puck up off the air and then control it and make sure that you don't just hand it away cheaply to the attacking forecheckers. Ben O'Connor has been a real stalwart for Coventry. Here's
Walker to Hurtubise. Hurtubise. You talk about O'Connor, he's had another good year. He had a good time in Edinburgh and Basingstoke last year, but a lot more serious this year with the Coventry Blaze.
Well, he's playing for a team that's competing and trying to win hockey games every night, and I'm sure Paul Thompson has developed him and taken him to the next level, and you watch those skills out there. He's got those skills, but he needs that whole package to be with a winning organization.
As a quality defenseman yourself, when you look at somebody like Ben O'Connor, you see things in him and you think, you know what, in 3 or 4 years' time, he's going to be the real deal.
Of course you do. I mean, he's got size already, which you can't teach. He's got the stick handling ability, which maybe sometimes he overhandles it, but that's just youth. And he can skate, and he likes to play physical, and he enjoys the game. So you put all those things together, and he's got the passion for it. He's got the ingredients to be a successful hockey player for a long time.
It's had a jealousy. Would you like those years back, would you, Brent, and give it a go again?
Well, I think, to be quite honest, you got to be appreciative for the chance you do get. I mean, there's lots of young kids that would have loved to have had the opportunities that I was fortunate enough to have, and you be grateful for it, and you learn from it, and you take the good from it, and you learn some of the things that maybe you'd like to have done again, and you pass that on to the next generation.
And it beats working for a living, doesn't it?
It certainly does. It's to play the game you love and to have been involved. It's been, as I said, it's been a privilege.
Well, they shoot out to the 2 forwards there, led by Colin Shields, but intercepted by O'Connor. Phil Hill, Russ Cowley. Out to Mitchell. Reynolds takes a shot and fires it straight down the belly of Andrew Werner. And Werner comes out of his goal. And Werner And Werner's going to fly, change on the fly with Jody Lehman. You've never seen that before. Werner and Lehman change on the Sheffield Steelers goalie. Jody Lehman takes over from Andrew Werner.
I like it.
I like that.
You know, I wasn't sure exactly what he was doing, whether he was going to go for the full all the way down the ice, but now you see that it was right there at the halfway point of the game, and Andrew Werner and Lehman exchange positions.
So Andrew Werner of the Vipers is out of the net, and Jody Lehman's going to face his first shot. Russ Cowley at the back door, and Cowley takes the shot, and Lehman denies. Here's David Phillips, defenseman with the Belfast Giants. He doesn't normally get that far forward either.
No, but he has got incredible skills too. I mean, there's a player who, just like I said, it can't teach size, but Davey Phillips has gone to a winning organization, the Belfast Giants, who compete for points every night. And I mean, he is a real commodity. I mean, he's got that long-range ability, and he's able to turn on a dime. He doesn't give it the puck cheaply anymore, and that just comes from experience as a young defenseman.
And just out of shot, you saw Kevin Reiter change positions with Curtis Cruikshank. So 2 goalies have changed. And Cruikshank of the Hull Stingrays replaces Kevin Reiter of the Basingstoke Bison. I'm still trying to work out how the Hull Stingrays were in the southern section, but hey.
Well, we were discussing that in the intermission there. We were looking at the geography. It was maybe a little bit of a north-south, east-west slant there going through the island.
Do you think they were just trying to keep the Sheffield and Nottingham players apart?
Well, it's probably not a bad thing.
Not a bad thing. Just over handles does young Thompson. Dowd with a backhand pass to Jeff Hutchins. Those two have hit it off, actually. Dowd and Hutchins have combined well. Thompson, who scored in the first period, just gets intercepted by Carl Horn. Kulikov jumps into the corner first. Savage has him covered. Glower tries to find Thompson, comes out to Plitsky, and to Plitsky, there's a man in front. Here is the man Thompson, and Hutchins did a good job on Glower. Kulikov dances, and Glower, who with all due respect can't dance, but can do everything else, can work hard at the dance floor, but doesn't exactly do the nice waltz. Nielsen, Thompson's going to come out for it. And here's Robert Dowd. Gets robbed on the blue line, Kulikov. Kulikov's got Thompson just ahead of him. Here is Thompson. And he just takes it in his skates, tries to bank one off Jody Lehman's chest. Here's Glower. Can he shoot from a distance? No. Nielsen versus Lehman. Corey Nielsen pulls the move. And Corey Nielsen shoots and scores. The Southerners extend their lead to 7 goals to 4.
Corey Nielsen has got a tremendous knack of really being able to sell the goaltenders on the initial shot that it looks like he's going to take as you look at the delight of Paul Thompson's face. And Corey Nielsen just has that ability to freeze the netminder with the initial attempt. You watch him take this pump fake here off of Glauer's stick, goes right onto his, takes the fake there, and Jody Lehman was just down and out. And yeah, Jody's having a little bit of fun here in an All-Star game, but it still is great control from a big man. That's
a great finish. That's probably the first and last time you'll ever see Paul Thompson smile at a Corey Nielsen goal.
They've had a good rivalry here, these teams here in the Midlands, and it's nice to see them working together here tonight and having some fun.
Denisett, of course, Thompson, who started the whole Team Hollywood business against the Nottingham Panthers earlier in the year. Here's Jonathan Phillips, man out in front. Cruikshank doesn't have to make the save. Ben O'Connor skates himself out and then into trouble. Dan Carlson. You know, in an all-star game, you've got 4 lines and you just rotate, Brent. Tell me why Calder, Colson and Chambers are out every second shift.
Well, I think they're enjoying themselves, and there's a good amount of Coventry fans that are here tonight as well that want to see Calder, Carlson. There's Beauregard. Makes it look easy, eh?
Beauregard from 10 feet is just outstanding, isn't he?
Well, he's got incredibly strong hands, doesn't he? And you watch him try to strip other defensemen of the puck. I mean, his placement of the stick on another man's, hockey stick, and he invariably rips it right off him. You watch.
Can you teach a youngster what David Beauregard does, or is it a natural talent he was born with?
Well, it's a natural, and I look back at some players like Mario Simeone and Peter Ekross, some different players, even Ivan Matulik as well. Players just have very strong hands, and it's kind of like that farm boy strength. You talk about Rod Sarich, who's kind of got that, and guys like Wade Belak could have been over here as well. Players that just have that natural strength that are able to really, in situations like competing for the puck, in those areas where he's got a chance to shoot and score a goal, he can get it done.
Denisett tries to feed over to Phillips. Puck bouncing around. Jundeen keeps the puck in deep. Horn and Beauregard in a battle. It's Lanina that comes out with it. Slanina's still got it. Carlson just ahead of him. Here is Dan Carlson. To Greg Chambers. Chambers just walks past one, all gets intercepted. This time by Beauregard, O'Connor. And they bring Cruikshank in.
The thing is about Beauregard, I mean, not any disrespect to him, I don't really notice him until he has the puck. All of a sudden he has the puck, he's in a position to score, and he does. I mean, but it's his way that he just searches down on his forecheck going after the defenseman, and then he creates his own opportunities, sometimes out of nothing.
And that is a skill in itself, isn't it?
It certainly is. I mean, he doesn't really need to necessarily be getting a whole lot of rhythm, a whole lot of puck possession in order to be effective. You just give him one chance and he'll bury you.
Hurtubise to Ashley Tate. Adam Walker, and here's a chance for Walker, man on the back door. Big stop by Cruikshank. He's a big goalie as well, isn't he, Curtis Cruikshank? A well-built man, physically fit.
He certainly is, and he's got those wide shoulders, and he fills the net extremely well, but he's been a stalwart for whoever he's played for here in Nottingham, Basingstoke, and Hull, and he's been all around the league here.
And that close-up, though, shows what he's also got. The worst moustache in hockey. What is he thinking with that?
I'm not sure. I think obviously he lost a bet or there was something going on, and it reminds me that maybe I should shave off my goatee as well.
Yeah. No, when he walked into the ring today, I double-checked and just shook my head. Shook my head. Here's Davy Phillips. He made the move from the Hull Stingrays to the Belfast Giants in the summer, and what a good move that proved to be.
It certainly has, and there's a number of teams are looking at Davy Phillips this summer, and why wouldn't they? As a British player, there's not many of them that are 6'3", can move the puck and play the game like Davy Phillips.
We talked about Ben O'Connor, and the game has got a good future with the likes of Phillips and O'Connor, Lundeen, these good young British defensemen.
Yeah, they certainly do. I mean, even, there's another young defenseman in the Hull Stingrays set up as well, and his name just escapes me momentarily, but I mean, they do have good talent. They got great ability. And you look at the players. I talk about Jonathan Weaver. Jonathan Weaver is arguably the best hockey player in this league.
Of course, in Cardiff, you've got that other young defenseman as well, haven't you? What's his name? Stone, Jason Stone, yeah?
Yeah. He's just rounding into form. He's just finishing his 20th season, and he gets better with age.
Here's Reynolds, who's had a crackerjack of a year in Basingstoke, and Richardson. Here's Bruce Richardson. He's got Cook ahead of him. Voth wants his goal. Who's going to deny him? Reynolds again intercepted. And the Northern team now coming back into it.
Here's a quick up play. Would have been there, but he didn't even see his man.
Yes, Voth couldn't find Richardson. He's found
Cook.
Cook's got Richardson. Cook. Oh, swivels. Brendan Cook had 3 penalty shots on Jody Lehman at the weekend. He scored short-handed on a breakaway in the game. You saw the highlights of that earlier. And then had 3 penalty shots on Lehman. Scored the first one, missed the last 2. But I don't think he'd have tried this one in a real game.
Well, he puts on the dog here, and unfortunately he can't walk it into the net. He looks the wrap around. He's sort of laughing himself there as he couldn't get all of it. But a nice attempt and a little bit creative, which is a little bit of fun for the fans to see.
Sometimes I make the mistake, Brent, of going on fans forum and reading what they say. And the Nottingham fans were getting at Brendan Cook. But every time I've seen Brendan Cook play this year, he's played with his heart on his sleeves, and he's given a solid effort every night.
Oh, wow, he looks like a very surging hockey player. Every time he gets the puck in his stick, he looks like he's going somewhere and he's going to make something happen. He plays with purpose, and I get excited every time the puck's on his stick.
And I like the line he plays on. He plays with Matthew Myers and Jay Galbraith.
Yep.
And I felt that they've been the most reliable, solid, and best line the Panthers have had this year.
Well, Matt Myers has had a resurgence this season. He's playing the type of hockey that we've known he can play, and he's capable of playing, and sometimes he can really take it to the top level when he's focused, and he's doing that right now for the Panthers. And Jay Galbraith, he's one of those players as well that's got gritty, sturdy, and can play hockey and put the puck in the net.
Thing about Matthew Myers this year, he's found the net, hasn't he? He's put some numbers on the board.
And he can do that. He's a big game player, and you put him in pressure situations and he can perform, and he is doing it this year for the Panthers.
Shields leaves it for Garside, takes a shot, gives up a rebound. And there's been actually, forwards have been getting back, haven't they, and helping out. And we've seen the defence actually going forward a bit too much. Here's Nielsen.
Well, the nice thing is sometimes you see these testimonial games, these type of game, not very good execution or good connected passes or even, good finishing on the goals, but there has been that tonight, and I think it's been played in a good spirit.
Nielsen has got Cowley to his left. Instead it goes to Mitchell. Here is Cowley. Nielsen in a corner with Georgia Wada, and Nielsen comes out with it. Jeff Hutchins and Taylor Christie joins the play. Robert Dowd goes to fetch it. Nielsen goes after him. Ben Campbell of the Newcastle Vipers. A call-up playing in place of David Longstaff. And if you're up in Newcastle next week, of course, people like Ben Campbell will be taking part in Rob Wilson's testimonial. A mile offside there was Cowley. And a lot of former Newcastle Vipers players coming back to the Newcastle Arena to take part in that game. And there's another 41-year-old defenseman, Rob Wilson, and I'm sure you wish him all the best in his testimonial.
Certainly do. I mean, Rob Wilson has been an institution in British hockey now for coming up to his 20th year, really involved in sports. And, you know, Rob is a player that I played with and know very well, and I'm proud and pleased for that he's continuing still to be able to perform and get the job done, and leading that organization up there in Newcastle. He's been a real part of their success over the recent, last 5
You must have
seasons.
played in the national team with him, yes?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And, even I look back at some of the players you play with that you come through at the start of your career, and then your paths cross as time goes on. And as we watch here, nice move here by Dowd, but Rob Wilson is one of those players that I always, whenever I see him, want to make sure to extend my hand and give him the time of day and make sure we say hello. And there's quite a few of them in the hockey world as you get to know each other, but Rob's one of the special ones.
Yeah, character.
Certainly is.
Back to action here, All-Star game. We're in the final 70 seconds or so. And those Southerners are beating those Northerners by 7-5 as Dowd finds Campbell. Campbell gets the puck back out to Jez Lundeen. Kenton Smith of the Manchester Phoenix in his first year in the BMI Baby Elite League to Hutchins, who's been here for 4 or 5 years already.
It's an interesting omission tonight that we haven't got David Clark in the lineup tonight. I'm just thinking of that, and whether that's an injury situation that he isn't here from Nottingham, or just where
he's
we're
missed the last couple of weeks, hasn't he, with a concussion, Clark. And the worrying thing there is, Clark's missed a couple of breaks with concussions. It seems to be a regular problem, and you don't want to see that, do you?
Well, currently even Peter Aubrey's out of the lineup for the Cardiff Devils. He had a little bit of a recurring concussion from an incident in Edinburgh, and it's one of those things. I mean, you look at players like Brett Mendoza, Eric Lindros, and some of these players, you've got to be a little bit careful and delicate when it comes around to head injuries.
Phillips leaves it for Beauregard. Denisette joins in as well. Beauregard and Phillips battling. Reynolds comes across. Chance for Denisette. Takes a shot eventually. Came to him earlier. The clock ticks down. And it's the last chance saloon. Look where Cruikshank is. Comes miles out of his net.
Good aggressive play. It was like Werner skating out of his goal there in exchange for Werner. And Cruikshanks has a little exchange for the other side as well.
So the end of the second period. The Southern All-Stars lead the Northern All-Stars by 7-5. We're going to have another skills competition any minute, and that will be for an extra goal as well. But in that second period, Brent, we saw some great goals again.
We certainly did, and that was the example right here. Calder finishes off the play with a great exchange from Chambers to Carlson to Calder, and he snaps it high over Werner before he left the
Are we going to talk ourselves into this transfer? And
well, I mean, you've got me thinking about it now. I think it's a foregone conclusion. I think we just get out the contract here tonight, don't we?
Yeah. So Glower, and there's Nielsen, and that was possibly the move of the night, Nielsen.
Yeah, it certainly was. And, I've remarked on it here just how well he sells that initial fake, and he can really put the decoy out there. And then his last goal here, Thompson, this is here again, Nielsen coming onto it as it gets from Glau out to Nielsen. But it's just great puck movement from a big man, and it really makes Joey Lehman floundering in the northern goal.
You know what I've seen with Nielsen tonight? That big smile. He's got a great smile. He's enjoying tonight, isn't he?
Yeah, this is right up. You watch him at the end of the warm-up. Here's Jonathan Phillips coming down into the wing here for the northern side, and this is big Beauregard, who's the man who is the out-and-out sniper in this league here this season. But Corey Nielsen is the last guy in warm-up and is always having fun. Watch this play in Beauregard. You ain't missing from there, my friend.
No. David Beauregard of the Manchester Phoenix. Is it 49 goals? What an incredible tally that is.
Well, he's almost a goal per game, which is you're almost in Wayne Gretzky territory as far as overall performance, and performing at that level.
Brendan Cook tried the spinorama. Now here's our clock that he's going to time how hard the shooters can shoot the puck.
Well, and we saw it just being tested in the intermission, the first intermission, and I just hope it works properly, because I think there's some shooters out here tonight that could put some interesting digits on that screen.
What's the number we should be looking for? What would a good British League player be able to whip that puck out?
I think someone should be able to shoot at 95 mile an hour.
95 miles an hour.
I mean, I think someone here is shooting 95, and I think between 95 and 100 is a realistic range here tonight.
Well, let's see if we can hit that magic 3 digits target. So there are going to be 3 shooters from each team, And Colin Shields of the Belfast Giants is our first shooter. So Shields, it looks like, will have 3 attempts.
He's going to get a little bit of a skate up here as he moves the bucket, and I think that's going to make a lot of a difference here. And just giving yourself that nice little bit of run up to get your body momentum behind it here. And here he goes.
So Shields' his first shot. And 84, that's a good start.
It certainly is, and gets himself moving. And a lot of times when you're the first guy, you don't really have much to push off against. And these guys like the competition here, and they push themselves against each other, but they also like to have 31, and it's keeping it low.
Yeah.
Keeping it low is the key.
So he's got to keep it low and keep it hard. So Shields again, 3rd chance. Let that one rip, 84. So 2 84s. So 84 is the magic number to beat from Colin Shields. And here's the big fella, Brad Voth.
Well, you look at that gun, and it doesn't look like it's overly sensitive. And so I start to think, Brad Voth will be shooting 192. Looking at Colin Shields' shot, but we'll see here in a moment.
So you've seen this man hammer the puck. He's a man that can hit that 3 digits maybe. Here we go. Shot number 1 for the Vother. Boom.
30 mile an hour. So we know something's wrong with that gun.
I think something could well be wrong with that gun, don't you think?
But his thing is, it's controlling the puck here, and here he comes again.
Well, if that was 68, I'm the king of China.
And I am drinking all the tea in China.
I mean, that looks equally as hard as anything Colin Shields was doing. 3rd attempt for Brad Voth. 93.
Yep.
There you go, you were saying.
I thought, just looking at the sort of gun, that was going to be about where he was going to be in the range. So I think that's going to be, I see one more player here in the lineup here looking at Dennis said, and Weaver shoots it well. Weaver has a real pure delivery, and I think Weaver might be the guy that could go to 94, 95.
Okay. I was just going to say, Weaver's out of this game now, isn't he, with that
You're
groin?
Right. He is, he's not going to be in it, so it's going to be...
Maybe a shoot with the crutch. No. Here's Taylor Christie. And he plays, of course, at the top on the power play for the Edinburgh Capitals. He'll be used to hammering it, and he hammers it there. 61. Again, I don't think that clock's your idea.
No. I'd like to see Chambers shoot the puck. That's a rim.
87 for Christie. Last chance for Christie. 93 to beat. 86. So Brad Voth still leads the way with 93. Let's see who our next shooter is. And the Coventry fans, I think, will be happy because it's Adam Calder. Now, this boy can certainly shoot the puck, can pick his spots, and he can hammer it home. So, Calder. 80 for Calder. $73 for Calder. And he misses with a 32. So, Brad Voth still leads the way after 2 rounds of shooters. Who are the North going to put up against Voth now? Who's going to be there?
Sarich shoot here, even whether or not he can shoot it, but and it is going to be Rod Sarich.
Yeah. So there's the man who leads at the moment. He's got a big smile on his face. Brad Voth. Here's a man who's had to fight Voth earlier this season down in your barn. Rod Sarich. Sarich of the Steelers.
Oh!
Hits the post with an 87.
The way it hits off that post there, it really looked like it was moving. It certainly was at 87 as his first offering.
Sarich again with the second one. That's a bullet, another 87. He's consistent. Here he comes again. Sarich with a bullet. 86. So 2 87s and an 86 for Sarich. And Corey Nielsen. Now, Nielsen's a competitive character.
Yeah.
And nothing would please him more than to win the Hardy shot competition.
Oh, he would. He's having, like you said, he's having a lot of fun here tonight. He's enjoying and smiling, and he is going to buckle down here and put all he can into the shot.
The one thing is the Southerners are going to win the Hardy shots, but are they going to win it by any more? They're going to get that extra point that they get, that extra goal. Nielsen's second shot, 80 miles per hour. And the final shot of the Hardy shot competition. A bullet from Nielsen, but it doesn't beat Brad Voth, the captain of the Cardiff Devils, the captain of the Southern All-Star team. He secures an extra goal for his Southern team. That bullet, 93 miles an hour. Brad Voth has the hardest shot in the BMI Baby Elite League. It's now official. 8 goals to 5. The Southerners lead the Northerners at the end of the second period. We'll be back with the third period right after this break. Welcome back to the All-Star game, folks. It's at the Skydome Arena where the Southerners lead the Northerners 8-5, but 2 of those goals have kind of been added to the tally because the Southerners were the quickest in the relay race and Brad Voth had the hardest shot in the hardest shot competition. Third period, is there a way back for the Northern lads?
Well, there certainly is. I like the format of the actual skills competition, adding to the actual goals in the game. I think it's been played really well here tonight. You look at Joey Lehman's stats, and he has been probably the best goaltender in the league, but I think either team here really has got an opportunity to make it happen, even though these goaltenders are that good.
You know, there was talk at the start of the year, just as this third period gets underway, Brent, what was your view on this one, that actually, to make the All-Star game more competitive, they should give a point in the league standings to the 5 teams who represent the North or the South, should they be victorious tonight?
Well, I think they do that in other major professional sports, and there is a purpose to it when there is that advantage given during league play. So I think it's been well supported here, bringing back the All-Star game into league formats, and it's been the first time. But it is about building these things year on year and putting the right little pieces in place to motivate everybody to really commit.
Would that work next year, maybe, you think?
Well, I think it's certainly an option, something that can be visited, and then obviously lots of things are always discussed at these board meetings. So that's another one to have on the table.
Big shot comes in from Corey Nielsen. He hammers one past Lehman. Block aside. Lehman says he didn't see it. His captain, Jonathan Phillips, just laughs. But that was a rocket by Nielsen.
We just saw the hardest shot competition, and that there would have been a harder shot than anything we saw there in the competition. It's certainly off of Corey Nielsen's stick. I mean, the way he rips that thing, that was in the back of the net even before it was even released. Watch how quickly that is in the back of the net. I mean, that was an absolute bullet. It's already in there and out back to Lehman's legs.
You'll see it again on the one-timer. And of course on the Nottingham Panthers power play, they play that one-timer where the 2 defensemen cross, and Nielsen always looking to get that one-timer. It's something he's done many times this year already.
Well, exactly, and he does extremely well as he gets the puck through to the nets and always gives himself a chance. There's another one.
Straight back down at the other end, it's Adam Walker of the Manchester Phoenix who makes it 9 goals to 6.
Seen his teammate David Beauregard do that all season, sit there right on the corner of the nets and make sure you get your stick on the ice. And he receives a nice play from Hurtubise. And Hurtubise puts it right on Adam Walker's stick as you watch it here long up the ice. And it's Tate alongside to Hurtubise, and Walker's stick will redirect it in the open goal.
So the gap is back to 3. And can the Northerners get back in it? Adam Walker shoots and scores. Paul Thompson. He's got his Coventry face back on, hasn't he?
He's looking very youthful and very relaxed. Actually, it's nice to see that coaches get a chance. And it was fun watching your interview before the game and challenging Paul a little bit. But it's a playful evening here tonight, and it's been a good spirit.
I think everybody's had a smile on the face when they've walked into this building. Voth takes the shot. O'Connor to Richardson. Brad Voth. Ben O'Connor, his father, the general manager of the Steelers, Mike O'Connor, here tonight watching him as well. His son in his first All-Star game. Richardson fires one. Voth with the redirect, and he rings off the post. Here comes Hurtubise again. Ashley Tate. Tate, who played here at the Skydome Arena for the Coventry Blaze for 5 years. Hurtubise in his first year in the league. Robbed by Voth. Bruce Richardson, his teammate Cook, joins the play. Here comes Cook. Lehman makes a save after Lundin had intercepted. Jez Lundin again to Hurtubise. Hurtubise goes this time to Adam Walker. Ashley Tate has stayed on the ice. Hurtubise in the red helmet.
Nice thing to see there on that passing play. Davis are heading up the ice. It's the good connected passing and good execution of that. And even though these players haven't played together much, obviously they've got that skill and ability, and they've got a good sense of timing for each other on the ice.
Lee Mitchell of the Stingrays, valiantly, of course, trying to get his Hull Stingrays into the playoffs. Only a point separates them and the Edinburgh Capitals after Edinburgh picked up that point in Cardiff. That's a tough battle, isn't it? That's the real battle in the league right now, isn't it?
It certainly is, and both teams really are believe that they can get there. Passing right now is backstopping the Edinburgh Capitals, commitment to try to get to that playoff spot. And Curtis Cruikshank, who we saw earlier tonight as well, are still in the goal now for the Southern team, is backstopping for the Stingrays.
Here's a chance for Lee Mitchell, Russ Cowling. Yeah, Passy Wrighton, and what a story that's been this year for the Edinburgh Capitals. He guested the first game of the season for the Caps, having not been on the ice for 3 months. He beat the Sheffield Steelers pretty much single-handedly 3-1 in that first game, and then got his chance when Michelle Robinson left. And there's a character, Passy Wrighton, and we talked about characters earlier. We forgot one. Yeah, Passy have a Heineken.
Well, you're completely right, and it's nice to have to remembered that and brought that to the attention, because Passy Wrighton has been around this game now for a long time and has been through all the different leagues, but the guy can flatten out play.
Oh, he can indeed. Great character. If you're in Edinburgh watching this and you want to see one of the true characters of the sport, check your local press and, of course, skysports.com for all the fixtures and see when the Edinburgh Capitals are at home, because Passy's a crackerjack of a goalie. Here's Reynolds. Lee Mitchell.
This game just settling down here now, Dave, in this third frame. And there's still 3 goals in it in the margin, but both teams are really looking to get that good possession now, trying to open up those lanes by just making those good connected passes.
Here's Russ Cowley, picks a nice pass up from Nielsen. Man at the back door was Thompson. Would I be rude in saying he showed his Basingstoke form there?
He had an opportunity. There still was an angle, but he still had that big Joey Lehman to meet at the end as well, so it was always going to be tough.
Everybody's having a joke tonight. Why can't I have one as well? Campbell's looking for Dowd, misses out, goes to Saric. Saric makes a nice pass. Hutchins. Corey Nielsen. You know, when Ed Courtney said he wasn't going to take part in this game, yeah, he'd have scored about 7 tonight, wouldn't he? He'd have loved just stancing that blue line and then finishing in the way only Courtney can.
Well, for your money, I mean, give me your top 3 all-time most natural scorers in British ice hockey.
Well, you know, I wouldn't put him on my top 3. I'd put him in my top 1.
Exactly.
I mean, Courtney to me is the best goal scorer that probably has ever been here.
Yep. I mean, I haven't been and seen this long. I've been here for 13 years, but I mean, you've seen it through the Heineken years and some real special hockey players as well. But that's what I was going to say. But I was just wondering if there was another couple that you thought competed with him.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you go back even further, you're playing against some very dicey British goalies 20 years ago, when a lot of people scored a lot of goals, like Conway or Ferrer or people like that.
Yeah.
But Corney scored him against the very, very best. There's Kulikov, who banks one off Lehman's chest. Now, I've actually never seen eye to eye with Ed Corney, but I've never seen a better goal scorer than Ed Corney in my life. Hutchins goes glove side on Cruikshank. Who's the best goal scorer you've ever played with, Brent?
Well, I'd probably say at the time Mike Ricci, but I'd say Miroslav Shatan, who went on and then scored a number of goals for Buffalo, and I'm not sure where he is at the moment. But
and what about over here?
Best goal scorer over here. I mean, Vezio was a great goal scorer. Probably not prolific, but was just a great point getter. An actual goal scorer against would have been Courtney, obviously playing against, but playing with. There isn't really one that really stands out for me as far as former teammates. I mean, there's a number of players I've played with, but I think Colin Shields is a fantastic goal scorer and just played a little bit within the national team. I think he's a gifted natural goal scorer.
There's another naturally gifted goal scorer, Paul Denisett, doing what he's done for the Belfast Giants all year. And Denisett shoots and scores. He pulls one back for the Northern Select. It's now only 9-7. 13 minutes to go as well. Denisett to the Belfast Giants, shoots and scores. Let's see it again.
Great move. Denisett just cuts right to the net from the right side to the left side, and working in front is Phillips, and comes back in, and it's Denisett who picks up a loose change, and he banks it, puts it right upstairs, up over the shoulder of Curtis Cruikshank in the Southern goal. And
There is a 2-goal scoreline now, 9-7 for this Southern team.
Carlson to Ben O'Connor. We haven't seen a lot of the what we like to call the CCC line. Chambers, Carlson, Calder. Coming to an ice rink. Coming to an ice rink near you soon. Well, coming to an ice rink near you if you live in Coventry, we think. We've got it down as a cert here, haven't we, Brem?
Well, I think enough talking about it could make something happen.
I think we've talked ourselves into it. Here's Denisek. Denisek goes one-on-one with O'Connor. Drop pass. Jonathan Phillips, man out in front. His Beauregard. Cruikshank has it.
It's
Calder.
they've had their quota tonight, maybe, and maybe Paul Thompson was sitting them down and giving someone else an opportunity to score some goals. But we hadn't seen him for a while. But I think they get another goal on him still.
Chambers looks exhausted.
Oh, that's a fantastic move from Paul Denisek.
Back to Taylor Christie. To David Beauregard. Man at the back door was Jonathan Phillips. Couldn't connect. Chambers, the calmest man on the puck. In any situation. To Kurt Reynolds, his teammate in Basingstoke. Now to Adam Calder. Calder red line, blue line. Lundin comes across. Calder pulls a nice little move.
It's great poise, and I think you're exactly right, that comment about Greg Chambers. And I'll ask you another question then. We'll compare Greg Chambers to Ed Courtney. Who was more calm in the puck, Greg Chambers or Ed Courtney? Two different type of players.
Two totally different types.
But I mean, it's a hard comparison to make, but similar
Let
type of control.
Let me spin that one. Tessier or Chambers?
Oh, well, it's hard for me to visualize because they're left and right shots. And Chambers has a different type of style, where Tessier is... Tessier, well, they both can, as you say, and I think you probably said it best, you know, he's a locksmith and he can unlock the doors. Right
Brendan
there.
Cook.
He unlocks it high up over the shoulder.
Very much so. Brendan Cook. Brent Pope and I like Brendan Cook. We've talked about him all night, and he finishes well on Jody Lehman. Cook shoots and scores, and the Southerners get that 3-goal advantage back. They lead by 10 goals to 7.
Watch this play here as Cook gets this off in a short space. He wastes no time, and just the release there. He shoots that puck within a foot's distance, and Brad Vaught comes out of the corner, lays it on the stick of Brendan Cook, and Brendan Cook wastes no time, and he gets himself a power release up over the shoulder of Jody Lehman for this 3-goal advantage again for the Southern team.
Mark Richardson of the Nottingham Panthers started the season in Basingstoke as a forward, now a defenseman for the Panthers. Gives it to his teammate Bruce Richardson to Voff, and there was Brendan Cook. Voff goes back to Bruce Richardson.
This line here is looking,
yeah.
It's a pretty good chemistry here. You know, Bradford are a big man, but they're finding each other and got a real good sense for where they are on the ice.
Here's Corey Nelson. He won't want to see Brendan Cook leave the Panthers, but we'll try and talk that transfer rumour up. We think he fits well with
Brad Voth and
Cook, Cook, Voth and
Richardson.
And Voth's not moving. So
Voth's not going anywhere. So I think there's a few things that need to be heard around the league here tonight.
Voth getting involved with Selena, and then Selena hits Voth back. Oh, it's Kenton Smith, and then Richardson scores.
Nice shift.
And then Voth has a word with Kenton Smith. And it's good to see some good banter out there, as well as some good goals.
Well, exactly. It's the blue line, and put a little blue bonnet on it. As that line there of Richardson and Cook and Brad Vaught butter up sweetly as they put it in the back of the net here again, and Nielsen gets it down low. Coming out here in front is Richardson, and Richardson will make no mistake there. And Joey Lehman can't get the glove on it to deny him. And a little bit of fun there from Kenton Smith as he fires the puck at Brad Voth as he skates away.
Smith and Voth there just clashing.
Yes.
Just having a bit of a joke, a bit of fun, and Voth goes back to Smith and just tells him the puck's in the back of the net if he's wondered where it's gone. 11 goals to 7. The Southerners lead the Northerners. Tyson Zaplitsky. He's got Lee Mitchell just in front. He's playing with his teammates as well. Phil Hill. Russ Cowley on the puck. Hill drives to the front of the net. Here is Hill. And he shoots into the body of Jody Lehman.
It's an all-British line here, and all three of these players will be looking to be in the Great Britain fold, and without telling any secrets away, I mean, is there space for all three of those players in the British team this year?
Well, hey, who knows? I mean, Lee Mitchell, there's so much competition because you forget Greg Owen, who's not here as well. David Longstaff, Steve Thornton, of course, now with the British passports, so valuable.
And you talk as well, Jody Lehman mentioning in our broadcast
Yes.
earlier today, or in the intermission there, about just getting his passport.
That's right,
earlier
Jody.
today.
I think he hasn't got the passport yet. I think that's 2 weeks away, but he's got his citizenship. And that means that Jody Lehman will be available for the World Championships in Poland 2 weeks after the end of season playoffs. And what a difference that could make to the national team, maybe.
Some interesting decisions for Paul Thompson to make, and such an important position to have filled with the best available player to him.
Well, he's got Murphy and Lyle as his 1-2 right now, and they are head and shoulders his 1-2, aren't they, as British goalies. Lehman coming in. Peter Aubrey, of course, is looking for his passports, and so could be a fair few changes. Colin Shields offside.
Colin Shields.
And there's Colin Shields, who, of course, surely has to go to Poland.
Well, yeah, of course. And he hasn't got his commitments anymore at University Hockey in America. So you look at Colin Shields there on the screen. He is here full time as Paul Thompson, enjoying his team's efforts here tonight. He's got them firmly in control now with his 4-goal lead.
Well, it's been a while since he won a game here. He'll be happy. Taloa wins the face-off. Back to Horn. Hutchins chips forward, intercepted O'Connor. Slonina of the Hull Stingrays. Savage goes back to get it.
Well, that Sarich had, I thought he had 90 miles an hour plus. Just looking at his shot there, I thought he released it smooth enough in that shooting competition, but he was the closest one to compete with Roth there. But hard to tell, visually. You just wonder about that gun, whether it was as accurate as we had hoped it could have been.
You love your NHL, Brent, and of course Rod Savage's brother out there playing well.
He's a fantastic defenseman, and I think he's currently with Calgary, is he, at the moment? And obviously great hockey bloodlines within the family, and it's interesting just to see these players and where they come from, and learn these stories of the different sort of heritage that players have and their brothers. And I know that we had Jason Silverthorne's family. He's got a brother over playing in Germany, and you just listen to these guys as you get to know them over the years. They've all got stories of the different families involved in the sport.
Were you over here when Keith Gretzky came to play for the Air Raiders, wasn't it, many years ago?
Well, I'll give you a little trivia question here. Who is the all-time leading scoring brother tandem in the National Hockey League?
Go on, tell me.
It's Wayne Gretzky and Brent Gretzky.
Is
Brent
that
Gretzky
right?
got an assist for the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Glower. That's a good one. I'll remember that one. I'll use that one. I won't credit you with it. I'll use it all for myself.
That's like coaching.
Yeah.
Legalized stealing.
Richardson. Mark Richardson of the Nottingham Panthers helps Thompson. Thompson gets it back as far as Reynolds. Sarich. Horn. And there was a defenseman who we talked about, the GB team, Brent. There, Carl Horn, of course, was on that team last year in Austria. Rod Sarich, back to Horn.
I bet you Kyle Horn. Oh, that's a nice
Hello,
move
did you
for
see
a
that?
big man. I mean, he's got better. I mean, now you see me, now you don't.
Exactly. I don't know who that surprised more, you, me, or him.
Well, the thing is he's
Oh,
still on
he's
it.
doing it again.
And we've all seen Kyle Horn without his equipment on there, and you just do wonder sometimes where all these supple skills come from. But he's got those smooth movements out there, and he just showed us a little bit of how to cradle that puck like an egg.
Savage gets robbed by Carlson. Carlson one-on-one with his former teammate Lehman, and Lehman has denied him.
That's a great
somehow.
save.
Great save.
He wasn't probably going at full speed as he normally would, Carlson, but even still, he did come up nice quickly with a short stop there, trying to get Lehman to commit, but not this time.
Chambers, soon to be of Coventry, we're saying. I've got the Coventry owner stood next to me. He's not giving anything away. Calder wraps one into the pads. Denisek goes that long pass to Phillips, intercepted Calder. Gives it to Reynolds. Reynolds has got Colson one way. Still with Reynolds. Now back to Adam Calder. I can see the T-shirts now, Brent. CCC. Calder, Colson, Chambers. Oh, a slash.
Ooh,
And a
pretty
vindictive
good.
slash by Nielsen.
Pretty-
It's an
oh,
all-star
oh.
game, Corey. And he gets robbed. And he gets robbed by Denisek. Denisek pulls a move on Reynolds. Who's out in front? Oh, a finish from Jez Lundin. He makes it 11-8. But that got a little bit feisty for the first time, didn't it, there with Denisett and Corey Nielsen. Denisett robs and sets up Lundin nicely.
Well, as I said, you watch Corey Nielsen, you know, and here is the play again. Denisett, watch this move he makes inside out. It goes right around Reynolds. But, I mean, for my money, watching Paul Denisett play this game here tonight, look at these moves and control. Put it right on the stick of Jez London, and Jez London makes no mistake beating Curtis Cruikshank to the glove hand side. But Corey Nielsen there, very intense hockey player who competes for every opportunity he gets on the ice. And I think Corey's looking to maybe get himself a second, or I think he's up for a third goal and a hat-trick goal here. So he wanted his chance to have that puck on his stick.
I've got to tell you, Brent, that Coventry owner's gone red when I just quickly went CCC to him. I think there's something in it, Brent. I think we've talked him into it.
Well, it's these Sky broadcasts are the gospel, and whatever you hear here on these broadcasts will come true.
I'm glad you believe me, because I've been telling everybody that for years. Here's Denisett, walks in again, leaves it for Beauregard. Jonathan Phillips. And the Northerners, they're trying to get back in this one. They trail by 3. 2 of those goals came in the skills competition. Denisett still holds on to it. And good work from Teplitsky and Richardson.
He's as talented a player out there as Paul Denisett, the way he controls that puck. I mean, there's a lot of great skill, and here he is again with a puck on his stick.
I think offensively, what a finish.
Goodness.
What a goal, Brent.
Oh, my. I mean, I every time I'm watching him now, I'm looking for something special every time he's got the puck. And over the last, I was anticipating something like that, but I wasn't sure that he was going to be able to deliver that in the backhand over the glove.
Let's just see a touch of magic from the Belfast Giants, Paul Denisett. Forehand, backhand. Thank you very much, Curtis Cruikshank.
That move,
well, it gets better every time you see it, doesn't it?
Well, it does. And you know, to score that, he comes in and it's tight. He doesn't necessarily go with a big, huge, long reach. He just gets it across quickly and up over that shoulder, and Cruikshank can do nothing about it.
You have to have strong hands to do that, don't you?
You got to have great hands, strong hands, and you've got to have the confidence to be able to deliver that kind of move. And Denisett has got that in abundance.
4 minutes remain in the All-Star game. Can those Northern lads get back into it against the Southerners? It's the Southern All-Stars that lead by 11 goals to 9.
You've got a feeling, or I've got a feeling, that this isn't done yet, and there'll be a little bit of theatrics before this game is to be completed.
And here's the line we like a lot. Cook, Richardson and Voth. And if you're buying your season tickets in Cardiff next year, we expect to see Cook and Richardson playing with Brad Voth. Don't we, Brent?
We would like to see that. I like their grit. I think the Cardiff fans would like those players.
I think they would in that small rink as well.
Small rink and just being passed all over the ice. I mean, look at what Jay Tulip has done this year. He's the leading scorer of the Devils now.
Yeah.
He's been a very popular player, and he plays that abrasive style and is always in your face. He's a real pest. Cardiff fans like that.
Hey, my understanding is that Cook and Richardson, they want to win something, and perhaps where they are at the moment, it might not be. It could be off to Cardiff. I can see it happening. There's Walker. Oh, super skills, Adam Walker.
Beautiful move.
11-10. Who's he been watching?
Well, that's very Tony Hand-esque, as we've been referring to his coach that he's been with now for a number of years. And Tony Hand would have frozen the goalie just like this as he comes across him left to right, sells the shoulder fake, and it's that extra little stick handle move that he makes there, Cruikshank, that keeps Cruikshank on the post for long enough. And when he does finally stretch, he can't extend himself all the way across, and Walker still has possession. He can come across and nail it in the open side of the net.
Well, Tony Hand is the most patient man on the puck I've ever seen, and that's what Adam Walker was there, patience.
Okay, here's the question then. Who's more patient, Tony Hand or Greg Chambers in the puck?
Tony Hand.
There you go.
Yeah, because I think Tony is more patient. Yeah. Shot comes in from David Phillips. 4,000 assists for Tony Hand as well. That's some number, isn't it?
Wow, it's just, it goes without saying. It speaks for itself.
And they reckon my mate was on the ice for at least 3,000 of them. I'll tell you a good Sky Sports story involving Tony Hand in a second. Tony came to be our colour guy. I think third or fourth game of the first season, we were back on Sky Sports, and we were sitting in the production waiting to do the post-game piece, and the scorekeeper came with a game sheet, and the game was between Newcastle and Sheffield, and Tony was the colour guy, and Tony looks at the game sheet, he says, "This is wrong, I'm not on it." Here's Lee Mitchell, gets it back to Reynolds.
It's a good little joke, that one, but there's no joking aside.
Yes.
The man is
genius.
The man has done it. And,
no, he's an absolute genius.
An absolute. He's British ice hockey.
Chance out in front for Russ Cowley. Colin Shields. Lee Mitchell. Was that offside, Cowley? No, obviously not. Lee Mitchell. Russ Cowley again, trying to keep the puck. There's just about 90 seconds remaining. 11-10. Is it going to be one of these all-star games that finish tied? And I don't think we're going to see overtime, but we might see a penalty shot maybe.
Yeah, I think
Here's Jeff Hutchins.
I got a feeling there's an equalizing goal possibly coming here.
I think the Southern team will want to quickly get out of this, and Toplitsky fires one down the ice, past Cowley to Lehman. And I'm just wondering whether Lehman will be pulled, a slash by Lehman, as we enter the final minute. And I tell you now, I reckon the next 30 seconds will be fairly competitive.
I think it's going to be
Lehman's gone, extra attacker is on in the All-Star game. Hutchins drives the net, Shields, Hutchins, chance, but Jeff Glower. And he bangs one off the boards, only far as Kyle Horn. 30 seconds. Campbell, Ben Campbell intercepted, Glower, empty net. And Jeff Glower scores the security goal in the All-Star game. The Southerners go 12-10 up, and on the base of it all, probably deserve it.
Wow, they do. They've probably been the more performing of the two teams, although Paul Dennisett has been spectacular for the Northern team as well. But Jeff Glow, who works all night and gets what he deserves and gets the result here on this last goal. A little bit of turnover, looking for that long play, are the Northern team, and Glow is right there joining the spot, and he makes no mistake, and that should seal this one here tonight.
Horn, shot by Hutchins, chance for Horn, another double stop by Cruikshank. Somebody tell him it's the All-Star game and there's only 8 seconds left. Cruikshank outstanding. Here's Kulikov, can he tie it? No, he can't, he gives it to Thompson. He misses on the final hooter. I think our man of the match, would you go with Paul Dennisett there, Brent?
I would, for certainly if we were choosing one for each team, I'd go with Paul Dennisett, and if I were looking at the Southern team, I'd probably give it to Corey Nielsen. And I think he's been a pretty strong player all throughout at both ends of the ring.
Dennisett then and Nielsen are two men of the matches in the All-Star game. That Northern team has been beaten by the Southerners by 12 goals to 10. A great turnout here at the Skydome Arena, but the All-Star game is now over. Plenty of post-game reaction to come with Brent Pope and Brent Cloutier. They'll be joining Nick Rothwell after this break.
Hello and welcome back to the BMI Baby Elite Ice Hockey League here on Sky Sports, where the Southern All-Stars beat the Northern All-Stars by a score of 12-10. Hello, folks. Well, we said it was a game that was all about skill and having a good time. We certainly saw a lot of skill, and there were certainly a lot of smiles on the ice and in the stadium as well. And there was a lot of predictions made, perhaps, about next year with line combinations and trades and stuff up in the commentary booth, Brent. The CCC thing kept coming up.
Well, it seemed to be something Dave Sims is convinced on. I think he's had some conversations already with Paul Thompson about a lineup for next year. We both know how close those guys are.
Yeah, and that it was obviously a big secret.
Yes,
Yeah.
so that secret is no more. It's out there and wide. But yeah, the line of Calder and Carlson certainly is a line that Paul Thompson, or a tandem that Paul Thompson's keeping together here in Coventry. It's been a cornerstone of his organization and their success. So, you know, Greg Chambers might be a fit there. Who knows?
Brett, you were behind the bench there for the game. How was the atmosphere down there?
Well, I was talking to Matty, and he said that he's trying to get Chambers for next year. So I hear he's the big trade block rumor, I guess. No, it was all right down there. We were just having a good time, you know, having a good laugh and just rolling the lines.
Yeah, it seemed like the guys had fun, and we talked about it before the game. That's what it is about, is the guys coming together. I mean, playing throughout the season, you're always heated up, and then it's good to kind of get there and just get the human aspect of everyone knowing each other and having a bit of fun.
Oh, yeah, they were just rolling around out there, just laughing. And, you know, it's good to meet a lot of new people. Some of these guys never met each other, and, you know, just to joke around. And they kept it real easy out there. And but they still worked hard and tried to score some goals and get the fans into the game.
It wasn't like the old All-Star games where there was other stuff in the water bottles, eh?
There was in the assistant coaches, I think.
Was there? From your point of view, up in the commentary booth, Brent, it seemed to be a game that we saw a little bit of skill out of guys like Corey Nielsen that you don't perhaps see him pull off during the normal regular season games.
Well, Corey's got great skill, and he's a real showman when it comes to a game like this. I mean, he can move the puck left to right, and he can do kind of whatever he wants. I mean, the goal he scored here against Joey Lehman, I mean, this is a shot here from Chambers, who just rips that thing upstairs.
Yeah. Well, we talked about Chambers before, and I mean, these are just some of the highlights that we saw, and just guys having a lot of space and movement, and everyone keeps, without the hitting, I suppose everyone gets to keep their head up on a swivel a lot easier, and you find guys a lot easier.
Yeah, I mean, I think the guys made some real good plays out there, and they executed, and there were some real nice goals to watch on the finish. I mean, another example right here, this is the move I was talking about, Nielsen and on Jody Lehman, but that's the nice stuff to watch, is you don't get much of that opportunity, especially with high, intense games, and with a lot of body contact. I mean, that prevents all of that sort of extra showmanship. So that's, I mean, Dennis said here tonight, I mean, he's, I just realized what a good hockey player. If you didn't know what he was already, you certainly knew it after tonight.
Brett, you think you could pull some moves like that off?
Well, I don't know about Corey Nielsen's moves. He was acting like it was Game 7 of the Stanley Cup out here. He was definitely bringing a lot of energy to the All-Star game tonight, and I guess that's what you need out here.
Competitor through and through.
You can see the guys just again rolling around and having a good time out there.
Lots of good smiles. I mean, this is Adam Walker, but everybody, and guys to relax. And like you said, playing with from guys from different lines there, you get yourself all sorted there, Nick. Guys with different lines, just wrapped in a human pretzel.
Yeah.
But, and they're having fun and getting to know guys the first time or getting to see guys off the ice. So, I mean, it was a good little spectacle, I think, for the fans as well, and they enjoyed it.
I got to keep limber, not playing anymore.
Well, I know. You seize up the old joints.
Yeah. It was a good effort for the league, though, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you've been around for a while in the last few years. You've seen the Elite League for 3-4 years, Brad. I mean,
well, I haven't seen an All-Star game, so it's good that they're doing that. I mean, it's good for the league. I mean, we get it here on the TV and stuff, and it's good to spread the word that we're going strong here, and that there's a lot of people that care about this game in England.
What was your favorite highlight?
My favorite highlight of the night, it was probably that goalie switch, I think.
Yeah.
That was the highlight of the night.
Took away my bread and butter there.
Yeah, oh, sorry. Yeah, I guess that was his.
I got to go another one now.
I've never seen anything like it. It was pure cheekiness, I suppose we'll call it.
Well, I didn't know what Verns was doing. I thought he was just going down the ice and trying to maybe go and score and make a little bit of a farce of it.
Yeah.
I was getting a little bit upset there, and then I realized he was a genius. He was actually making that on the fly.
And then Ryder and Cruikshank pulled the same thing off, and I don't think Dave Matzos knew. Here you see Werner pulls it off. And it was Jody Lehman was barely had his equipment on.
No, I don't. I think
he even gave him the tag in there. He gave him a little shot, like go in there. I kind of like Nielsen's Selly one time. He was milking the cow or something like this. I don't know what he was doing.
I don't know, he's flying the parachute or
he's doing something.
Driving Formula One, whatever he's doing.
We're gonna have to get him on the program here and see what
he meant by it.
Yeah, we want an explanation.
Okay, well, earlier on, Dave caught up with both head coaches, and perhaps some of the most unprofessional interviews you will ever see here on Sky Sports.
Paul, a good night at the Sky Dome, a victory for your Southern team. What did you get out of that?
A good night. Yeah. A good night. Good skills, some nice goals, everything that you'd expect from an All-Star game.
Smiles on a few of the players' faces as well. It looks like they enjoyed their night as well.
Well, it's nice that, both teams, we battle against each other all year, and it's nice to get together and see the human side of each other for once, and it's an enjoyable evening.
And you won both skills competitions as well. You were the fastest and you had the hardest shot.
Yeah, I out-coached him tonight.
Yeah. Was it quite a novelty just beating Matty in this rink?
Well, I've done it for the last 5 years. No, I'm joking. No, will you be quiet? Yeah, it was, you're lucky because I could have said Brad off to run all your guys through the wall, but I didn't tonight. But no, it was a good game and an enjoyable event.
Okay, and all your players are having a beer and a pizza at the moment, and no injuries, and everybody goes home healthy, and they've given the crowd a good night.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about.
Matty, what's it like to lose in Coventry?
It was the Panthers that beat us. No, it's just a great night. I think everybody got what they asked for. I probably could have did a little better homework on my skills competition. We lost both, but just a good night. The crowd was people that showed up were enjoying it, having fun. The guys on the bench are fun, and it's good. It's good for guys from other teams to interact, and it's fun to see line combinations and the cream of the crop playing together.
We saw some great skills from all the league's all-star players, didn't we?
Yeah, and that's what the All-Star Game's all about. Everybody comes out healthy, everybody has a good time, and it's entertaining for the crowd. It's 22 goals tonight, and I think everybody got what they paid for.
Have you ever been in a game where the 4 goalies have changed on the fly?
That was great. Yeah. And I applaud Werner and Lehman for doing it, and then Shanker and Ryder did it without us even knowing it. I looked down there as a play transition, and Crookshank's in that. So, good fun.
We joked at the start about Calder, Colson and Chambers. They look pretty good together in blue, didn't they? You see them here next year?
I definitely can, yeah. I think Tomo's got something up his sleeve there, and I don't think he was just testing them out for the All-Star game. Maybe see what they have for next season, but you know what, never know.
Brad, not only the biggest and the baddest, but now you've got the hardest shot in the Elite League as well.
Yeah, I just went up there and, tried not to miss the puck, and I got it and kind of got lucky.
And the fans there gave you a good cheer as well. You normally get booed you normally get booed in most buildings, but you got a good cheer in here tonight.
Well, it was half cheers, half boos when I came out, that's for sure. So I got some fans at least.
How do the players feel about the All-Star game? Everybody seems to have a smile on their face tonight.
Yeah, the guys enjoyed it. It was good to see everybody come out. There was a couple injuries, a couple guys backed out, but the guys that came out, everybody's busy right now, and they did have fun.
Yeah. Good news for the Elite League next year is that your face is going to be back in everybody's building again after signing for the Cardiff Devils. Do you realise how important you are to that franchise and also to the league as well? One of the true characters of this league.
Well, I mean, I enjoy Cardiff, and I was honoured to be asked back so soon, and I kind of jumped at the chance, and I really enjoy Cardiff, and I wouldn't want to leave.
New ownership, and Jared Adams doing a good job behind the bench there. Good times ahead for the Devils as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt's really turned it around this year, and it's a lot more enjoyable to play there. And G's got us working hard, and he's a good coach to play for.
Okay, great to speak to you. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Paul, an all-star game and an all-star performance.
Oh, it was fun. I mean, a little laid back. It got a little bit more intense at the end, but it was lots of fun.
You've been ranked by so many people as the league's MVP, the most prolific forward in the league, and it's your first year over here. How have you found Belfast and time in our Elite League?
I've loved it in Belfast. I think right from the start, I think with Steve and the guys that I've been playing with and just hanging out with, it's been great. Yeah, I can't say enough about how much I've enjoyed it on and off the ice.
And the league itself, how have you found the league, the competitiveness of it and the standard?
No, it's been really good. I think it's intense and it gets a little bit more physical than other leagues that I've been used to, but that's kind of a different element it brings, and it's been very competitive. Yeah,
I think you really look good in teal and orange rather than the teal of Belfast. A move to Sheffield on the cards, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to say anything about that.
It's just a David Matsas picture. He had you down. He put a little number on you.
Yeah, we've had a few chats here and there now.
We said that Chambers looked really good playing with Colson and Calder. I think Thompson was perhaps trying to fit those three together.
Yeah, they were trying to get them together there.
And I've been asked to ask you, final question, your favourite Belfast Giants player is?
Without a doubt, Davy Phillips.
He's everybody's favourite.
MVP of the Belfast Giants.
Who's your favorite Belfast player? Anyway, folks, here at the BMI Baby Elite League games coming your way. It was a great effort here, and here are the games coming up. And of course, Cardiff have Hull on Saturday, Manchester playing Basingstoke on Saturday, and then Sunday, Manchester playing Basingstoke, and Cardiff with a night off. So that means you guys have a night out in Hull on Saturday.
That's the Hull Saturday night out, and if anybody hasn't had one of those, you should have one. And so the Cardiff Devils will be up there enjoying that, hopefully in a victory over the Stingrays.
And the Newcastle-Belfast game, that should be pretty good.
Well, they like to play a physical brand of hockey, both those teams, and that contest is going to be in Newcastle, and Newcastle likes to sell it. They sold it last weekend when the Devils were up there as the Valentine Massacre. What's it going to be this weekend? Who knows?
They called it Armageddon 2, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I read that on the website. Armageddon 2.
Armageddon 2.
That's what they're putting on the tickets, I think, or something.
You read websites.
All
you
the
troll
time.
on all the hockey sites.
Of course I do. Come on, I got to keep up.
Do you just Google search your name and forums? And
I'm everywhere. I got a lot of Google hits.
And you will be back again next year in Manchester. Let's talk about the league. And, this obviously was to kind of create a new buzz around the league, especially during this economic time. Everyone's having a hard time and pinching pennies. How do you think the league is coping and also where it's going, and from its start to now and having this All-Star game? It obviously wants to make progression.
Well, I think the league's doing a great job. I mean, it wouldn't be doing a bad job because this teams would be folding. There's so many teams that are in trouble, like you said, pinching pennies with the credit crunch. But you know, this sport, it's going to show that it's really strong by getting through this bad phase, and hopefully it'll just get stronger and stronger. Maybe more teams. Who knows? The future will only tell.
Yeah, I think teams do have to batten down the hatch, and you got to be responsible. And you know, even chatting to some of the teams around the league, everybody has to muck in and do their part to make sure you get through these tough times. But I don't think we're any different in this sport than we are in other businesses around the world, and even other leagues of our sport around the world. I think everybody's going through it.
Because ice hockey is a small niche sport. It's back on Sky now. Do you feel that it's a sport where the teams have to work closer together rather than perhaps in other sports where it's more about money and sponsorship and so forth? This is more got to be a community.
Yeah, I think it's got to be about teamwork. I think the business is the Elite Ice Hockey League, and in that business there's 10 different components of it, and we're all 10 different teams that all contribute to the Elite Ice Hockey League. And tonight's event is an Elite Ice Hockey League event, and everybody's come and support it tonight. And yes, we've got the league business at hand, and everybody wants to focus on their individual businesses. But tonight is about feeding the league and about supporting the community of the league and mucking in. And I think it was a good product, and I think that's the attitude we need to have going forward to working together.
Let's talk about recruitment and how both your teams, your rinks are obviously very, very similar. They're same size pads and in terms of attendance. In terms of recruitment and development of British players, do you think that the league's going the right way now?
Oh, for sure. I mean, especially what they did in the game tonight. There wasn't just imports; it was a mix of both. And you're seeing a lot of these players, these British kids that are, they're really, really good. Like compared to back home, I'll be back there. I'd put them up there with some good players that I played with. So obviously, it's going in the right direction. I've been here for 3 years, and I've just seen the progression get better and better and better with the British players. And I think it just starts from the bottom. Starts from minor hockey and the people developing them.
And there are players coming through like Davis down in Cardiff.
Yeah, I mean, Ben Davis has now just turned 18, and there's a guy that was accelerated right through from, it was under 18s hockey right into Elite League hockey now, and he's breaking his way into it. And I think other players see that and see that there's hope and there's possibility going through the top level. And, we had a real bulk of players going through maybe, 10 years ago. It's time for that next generation of players coming through, and they are, and it's being led by captains like Jonathan Phillips, who's leading the, the Elite League, the Sheffield Steelers.
Well, it's Toe and Dowd, too. I mean, I was with them 3 years ago. They weren't even on our team. They were just practicing with us, and they didn't even have a shot, and now look at them. They're two of the elite players in the league.
Now, Brent, you take care of the Devils and the community development. What kind of things are you doing within the community to get the sport known?
Well, I mean, first of all, you've got to get into the schools. And, there's lots of different things that go on in half-term. You get into leisure centers as well. But there's so many different sort of youth groups and so many different activities that go on out there. And not until you really have a look at it and see what goes on in your local community, you really actually know.
Yep.
And there's a lot of power and impact you can have as a professional sports team in getting in your community and engaging and showing people there are opportunities to play sport in your local area, and a really unique sport that most people don't have a chance to play.
I suppose at this time, I mean, everybody, even large corporations and sport have got to have socially responsible activities within communities. What are you guys doing in Manchester?
Oh, they got us on a tight schedule. I think we got something going on every week. I mean,
are you allowed to grow a beard, or do you scare the kids?
Well, I haven't been on a school visit in about a month and a half.
Yeah, you wonder why, folks, eh?
No, but yeah, he's got us hitting the school circuit hard. He's got us doing a lot of things. I think I went to like a concert with the fans, like doing that kind of stuff. Getting back out in the community and trying to get the word out there to people who don't go to the games, but also securing the people that go there and giving back to them. And that's the way we do it. And he's got us working pretty hard there, but it's all for a good cause. Get this game of hockey going good.
Yeah, I mean, hockey is always a sport that people, I suppose, consider to be quite expensive. So they got to really search for secondhand equipment. And I know all teams have kind of systems where kids can come out and try skates and try equipment before they actually have to spend a lot of money on the equipment.
Yeah, we got a learn to play program in Cardiff, and I think a lot of other teams do around the league. And you've got to make it easy for people to get involved in the sport. And sometimes the equipment's a barrier. And if you've got some equipment, you can have them use right to start and see if they've got the interest, and it makes it that much easier for them to start.
Yep. All right. Well, folks, our next hockey action coming your way here on Sky Sports will be the Newcastle Vipers versus the Belfast Giants. What is it? Armageddon what?
Armageddon 2.
Armageddon 2, Sunday the 1st of March at 12 p.m. on Sky Sports Extra. Well, first of all, I got to thank you guys ever so much for joining us. Brent, did you have a good time?
Yeah, it was a pleasure. It was good working with Dave, and good to work with both of you chaps as well. It's been a good evening.
Brett?
I had a blast. I mean, it would have been better. It was my first coaching experience, and I ended up losing the game. But I blame the head coach mostly. I did everything I could.
And I've got to say, you did have a 1-0 scoreline predicted, so you're absolutely rubbish at that as well.
That was sarcasm at its best.
Was it? Nice way out of it.
Well, I was giving confidence in my goalies there.
All right, guys, thanks ever so much for joining us. And thank you for joining us here for the 2009 Elite All-Star Game, where the South beat the North 12-10.